All right, everyone. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope you're having a great morning, evening, or wherever you are in the world. Hope you're having a good time. I'm Andrew Esquire. This is the Legal Mindset. We help you guys be your own judge. We're going to have a pretty casual night tonight. I wasn't even going to stream tonight. I was going to go relax, maybe go catch Top Gun, just have a good time. It's been a little rocky here. We had the tropical storm blow through here in Florida. So I was a little bit iffy on the connection earlier today, but we're good now. We're perfect. We're solid. And we're going to cover a couple topics. And as well, I'm going to have a special guest here in a little bit to come on, someone who I haven't had on my show all throughout the trial. And I wanted to give him a chance to come on. Because, well, everybody can come on if they want to come on my show. Everybody is welcome. So that being said, what's up, everybody? Shout out to everybody here. I see a lot of people from around the world here already. San Diego, Florida. I saw Romania in here, UK. I saw another Florida down in here, Northern Cheyenne, Tennessee. Good to see you. Ohio, what's up? California, Czech Republic, what's going on? Good to see you. Dobre rano. I think is the right way to say that. Commonwealth of Virginia, and let's get to 74K tonight. Hope we get there. We're almost there. We're almost to 75. So good to see you, Tanner X. Choose to you as well. So yes, good to see everybody in the chat. Literally, I'm excited to be here and talk with everybody. Have a casual weekend stream. Not too stressful. This isn't going to be too long, right? We're going to come in, come out. But there are a couple things I wanted to talk about today. But before we jump into it, while all 776 of you are piling in, there's two things we can do. The first one is you guys can smash that like button. The second thing you can do is you can enjoy some memes. So I'm gonna leave you while we're doing this. Starting up here, I'm gonna just drop in here. Let's drop in here this meme right here. This nice one, to help Amber pay off her defamation suit. We got five. Obviously, I think that's $5. Let me maximize this. Yeah, I think it's $5. $5 there. So little ways off from helping her pay it off. All right, now we'll start while everyone's piling in here in this great song that was sent to me. I hope you guys enjoy it. Oh, no, Stan. No sound. Man, that no sound. The no sound is not necessary for this one, guys. But the sound is to get around the copyright. Let me try to see if this won't trigger the copyright strike. Okay, so if I get copyright strike, it's your fault, guys. I'm blaming it on you guys. Swear to God, I'm blaming it on you guys. But I'm gonna let it play here. Okay, gets a little repetitive there, guys, but you get the point. While you guys are filing in here, I hope you enjoyed that. That was sent over to me by one of my viewers. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I spent a while laughing on that. So yeah, you can now use that as your new ringtone. Check that out. This is Gadfly's channel. So if you want to check that out, the channel is Gadfly. You can check that out. It made me laugh. I'm very easy, guys. I'm very, very easy. Very, very easy to make laugh. That being said, we're going to have a guest here in a couple of minutes. They're going to pile on here. I think there's 2 super chats that came in here. I saw Mexican Iron Man earlier who dropped one in the chat and said, let's do this. Woo woo. What's up, Mexican Iron Man? Good to see you in the chat. Had a great time on Midnight's Edge the other day. So if you guys didn't have a chance to catch that right before the jury verdict came out, I was on Midnight's Edge. Great episode. So you guys should check that out. And also Grimm's Bar sent a super chat last time right before I ended my stream that said fat or skinny AI body. Well, I mean, if it's AI, it's got to be thick. I like my coding thick. That being said, let's jump into some of the topics today before our guest gets here. So the first thing I'll talk about is Dr. Spiegel. Dr. Spiegel. So Dr. Spiegel, well, I'll just show you the article in case you guys haven't seen. Very interesting here. Dr. Spiegel is saying, I testified in the Heard versus Depp trial, and the backlash has been horrific. This is by Dr. David R. Spiegel. our favorite buddy. You remember what he looks like down here. This is not the best photo. This is a better photo of him than he acted in the trial. So Dr. Spiegel is now worried. He's now concerned. I like this view actually here. But Dr. Spiegel is concerned because people are not liking him online. They're not liking him online. So yeah, he's and his wife called him apparently and said, "Listen, I don't want you to look at what's being said." So let me just zoom in here and read this. "I don't want you to look at being said. I asked her how horrific it was, and she told me it was pretty bad. I'm not a social media expert, far from it, so I didn't expect the whole horrific post-trial backflow. It's a little stunning to me. The volume of it, from the personal attacks on who I am to what I present like to what I look like and say, was obviously hurtful. I deal with people for a living, so I try to understand where they're coming from. It's what a psychiatrist does. But the comments below the YouTube videos of me have been vile, and some people have access to my work email, so I've gotten 4 or 5 charming editorials about myself." So yeah, apparently he's married. So here's the thing about this. And let me be very fucking clear about this. I don't think that attacks on anybody's family or their work email are really appropriate. But that being said, so don't attack somebody's work email. Don't attack their family. Don't bother them at their home. I think that's something we can all agree on. But when you get paid the exorbitant rates, $5,000 per hour to go testify, or $5,000 per day, whatever it is, these huge rates to testify, part of being paid that huge amount is the ability to take flack for your opinion. That's why you're doing it. I know people think it's a comfy job, a cushy job, where you just, get the 5K, you testify, you get off. And that's what he got away with most of his life. But sometimes you're in a controversial case. And part of that huge payment is because you're going to be out there, because your name's going to be out there. And the internet roasts everybody. I hate to say it, but there's people roasting me out there. There's people roasting everybody out there. People roast Nick. People roast everybody. I mean, shit, LawTube knows better than anybody. LawTube is a harsh mistress, right? There's always going to be people on the internet that don't like you, are going to say mean things about you. You can't stop that shit. It's just going to happen. It's going to happen. So I don't really feel too bad about mean comments below YouTube videos, and trying to make people feel bad for that. Sorry, no. And like Lawyer Fangirl says here, if you use your credentials for evil, you get what's coming to you. To a certain extent, I agree with that. I don't agree with going after the family, but I do agree with you get maligned. If you're lying, if you're holding yourself out as an expert and you're not, and you're representing things you can't represent. Yeah, I'm sorry. You can't. I'm sorry. That's fine. It's just not something that I think that under any circumstance I'm sympathetic for. Here he goes. He goes on to say, by the way, in the article, and I'll share this right here, that his WebMD page has been closed for comments. Okay, well, once again, you're allowed to leave reviews, and if you have a site that has reviews on it, well, there you go. So he was going to take a vacation to see his son. He started the vacation early. Oh my God, I feel so bad for him that he started his vacation early. Fortunately, he had support from his family and patients, and his residents, by the way, these are his slaves, right? They texted me and had "We Were With Dr. Spiegel" t-shirts made for them. Well, of course, because they're his residents, right? So, yeah, I mean, obviously you're gonna have them back you up. I don't know, man. Dr. Spiegel crying over this, it just comes off as something I can't be sympathetic for. Maybe I'm a cold bastard. Maybe I'm going to hell for this, but I just can't be mad about this, because this guy literally testified that he didn't care about ethics. And he's like, it's more of an ethical guideline. So he's literally saying ethics are just a guideline. And then he's complaining about mean comments on YouTube. It just doesn't line up. This doesn't line up. Let me message my guest here. Make sure he comes on. Okay, so before we get the guest on here, I'll give you a little background. So Dr. Spiegel is one of the ones that came out recently and kind of, revealed this information about himself, revealed this truth about himself. Well, the other thing that happened, and everybody was messaging me about this, was the jury, the juror specifically. So we had this article here, and I'll show you guys the article. I think it's the best way to do this. So this guy was Seeking Infinite on TikTok, and he came out and he asserted that he was a juror on the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp jury. And he presented a jury badge to prove that he was a juror, although it didn't really validate his identity or specifically that he sat on the jury itself. So it wasn't full. It wasn't foolproof. It wasn't foolproof. And like I said, so he uploaded an unidentified, uploaded a picture of a juror badge, but didn't show any of the information on the paperwork. So it's possible. It's possible. But this particular TikTok has been getting, it from both sides. People are sending it to me saying, hey, it's legit. It's fully legit. But then on the other side, if you go over here, you see that when you look all of his TikToks, it's deleted. His TikTok got taken down. And what he was saying was, he said a lot of stuff like from the beginning when Amber Heard was testifying, everything just seemed so off. She couldn't make eye contact. It made me uncomfortable. I could no longer look at her. Everything she was saying came off like bullshit. And that checks out. But none of this you would have had to be a juror to say. So I can't say based on this information alone whether or not I think this guy is legit. But one person I wanted to speak to about whether this was legit or not, and one guy who was trying to get on allegedly the other day, I couldn't do it because I was on another podcast. It wasn't my podcast. Didn't have control. Was my fellow South Floridian, James from Court. James, how's it going, brother?
It's going well. How are you?
Good. Hopefully all your family in Broward did, survived the hurricane, or the tropical storm. We honestly, James, I don't know. You grew up in Broward, right?
No, I actually grew up in New York, but I've been there for a couple of years now.
Okay, so you've been through like a storm or two?
I have.
Okay, so during Katrina, and when Katrina hit Miami, it was much weaker. But I remember that one vividly, Katrina specifically vividly, because we had a hurricane party because it was a Category 1. And if it's under a Category 3 in Florida, we just go out and get drunk and party at our friend's place because we don't take it that seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you need to put the wood up on the windows, you're fine.
Right. Right. So nobody cares. It's like, oh, it's a bad storm. Okay. Yeah, we're fine. But I wanted to make sure I had you on because people were asking the other day to have you on. I want to make it clear that I will have anybody on. It's just a matter of what time and what place. So wanted to get like your full recap as well as your thoughts on this potential juror that came out, whether you think that's legit or not. And your thoughts on that. But anyways, you're still up in DC?
I am. I'm still here. I was reporting for a few days. I was going to wait until, I heard that Shanley was interviewing Elaine down at court. I figured maybe I would, stop in, but then that was canceled. So I'll probably go back soon now that it's officially over. Yeah.
Was there any word on why Elaine canceled on Shanley? I was joking that that's probably the first time Shanley's been stood up in her life, but
Yeah, right. Usually the other way around for her. I think from what she said, Elaine had other court obligations. I don't know if I totally believe that.
I was going to say, do you really believe that?
I don't. I saw it was circulating on social media that they were having a meeting at the courthouse, and maybe Elaine was like, you know what, this is too public. I'm not going to do it. Or maybe Shanley, I have to say, has been a really unbiased source. I sit next to her a lot during the trial, and I'm sure there's a lot she can't say on court TV, but she's not ignorant to what's going on. She definitely sees like all the evidence and the shenanigans, and I think maybe she's been trying to show that more on social media and stuff and engage with people, and maybe Elaine wants to be like more Good Morning America and Today Show. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that about Shanley real quick. I mean, because she's been pretty. It seems pretty straightforward. I guess the thing is with her that's kind of awkward is she's in this weird area between mainstream media and social media, where she's kind of started out dealing with it much like mainstream media, and then she's realized, okay, we need to bring this thing onto social media more. She started taking from what you guys are doing, right? The other folks that were in court, and posting more juror reports, more juror information. Now, she did have a couple misses. She did miss on the Amber Heard's team calling Johnny Depp as a witness thing. She had posted that. The timing of that was completely off, and also just they didn't call him. It was actually Johnny's team that ended up calling him back to the stand. And I believe there was one other whiff she had, but other than that, it seems like she was pretty generally okay with the reporting.
Yeah, and not I guess, for my followers who do like to call me a simp sometimes, I'm not going to.
No, let me just say, okay, hold on. Let me say this real quick, though, James. They're always going to call you a simp, no matter what you do. Literally, no matter what you do, they're going to call you a simp. Like, literally, if you have a woman on your show, you get simps in the chat. In fact, guys, can I get S's in the chat for simps out there around the world? Yes. Let's see how easy it is. It's going to happen.
So then I'll just own it. I'm simping for Shanley. I will say, I think with the Johnny Depp calling to the stand, I think that was actually a move on Amber's team to keep Johnny guessing, because Shanley really did. She would tell me privately. Everyone's saying, I know I'm a simp. Yeah. She told me privately that he was going to be testifying, from Amber's side. They told her specifically. So I think they were telling her so that she would release it publicly, and then Johnny would be on edge every day, because one of the last days that the last week, actually, in the beginning of the day, Camille said to the judge, she said, are we going to get a day that he's actually going to testify? Because this isn't fair for them to keep saying it and then not bringing him. So I will give her a little bit of benefit of the doubt there. Other stuff, go ahead. She's bound to some corporate things, so I'm sure she doesn't get everything right.
I mean, about Elaine specifically bailing. I mean, I just gotta say, you read the articles, right, James? You read the articles and you saw the Today Show, and you saw the backlash from her going on the Today Show, right? I think that had to be part of it. I'm sorry. I mean, there's no way that she didn't see that immediately, receive some backlash from it, and frankly, I wouldn't be surprised. And once again, I talked about this on my channel. I'm not encouraging anybody to do this, right? I think that the duty to report when you're a lawyer, you do have a duty to report unethical behavior, but I think it's when you know, not when you think. But I think she may have received some bar complaints if I was thinking about this, just in general, because the form is online and people can submit them. So I think she's probably pretty tied up. So I can't blame Elaine for canceling. I think honestly, if I were Elaine, I would lay low right now. I think the Today Show thing was not a good look for her. And, frankly, I'm not sure whether she's even going to be on the appeal team. I'm not sure whether that's even clear from any of the record or any of the evidence we have. Because if there is an appeal, right, because it's not guaranteed, but if there is an appeal, usually different counsel handles that. And I don't think she indicated that she definitely was going to be on that team.
Interesting. Then why would she go out and be basically running PR for Amber? It makes no sense to me. I mean, that entire segment that she did, I guess, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer myself, but
I have one theory, James. Here's my theory. See what you think about this.
Yeah.
Her current PR manager is David Shane. And I think you're shaking your head because you know about David Shane, right? Right, James? Yes. So I think David Shane can't go anywhere publicly and can't speak on behalf of Amber because of what he's accused of right now. And because of that, and because he's still her PR manager, they had to send some other proxy, and the most neutral proxy seemed to be Elaine. But I think they were ignoring the fact that she was just already reviled. I even think sending Rottenborn would have been better for the Today Show.
Yeah, probably. Or some of the lesser lawyers. I mean, just
she's the back row.
The case, and then to go out and say those things, and it retracts from all the seriousness that any credibility that she had kind of just was thrown out the window, because she's trashing the judge, she's trashing the jury. I mean, come on, you can't do that. I mean, and as much as David, he should not be out there either. I don't know what Amber and her team is thinking, because he should be fired and there should be someone else out there speaking on behalf of Amber, probably a woman, probably a young woman, someone who's not saying ridiculous things, but saying things that, maybe make sense. Like, okay, Amber, she's actually going through a lot now. She's rehabilitating and doing things. I don't know, but whatever they're doing is bad. It's very bad.
Yeah, their strategy isn't working. It seemed to me like a double down strategy, and that's what it seems to me right now. But the problem is that they're really not getting the. I mean, maybe they are getting the backup, but nobody's buying it. It's not working for them. It's not winning them at all. I think their best strategy would be to lay low, to stay quiet, to let this die on its own, let the energy go out, because the momentum right now is all in Johnny's favor. So trying to swim against that is like fighting a rip current. You're not going to be able to win that, and clearly the victory of the day is Johnny's.
Yeah, and especially not by attacking people as well. Like, I don't know why the media and certain individuals always think that like attacking the group of people that you're trying to reach is a good way to like change their minds. But like calling these people names and like saying like, oh, this sets women back, when I mean, I've been on a lot of the the Twitter spaces and live streams and talking to people at court. 80% of the people that show up are women, women who have been through similar
But
situations.
they're misogynists. James, who have internalized their misogyny, and oh, by the way, they're racist, and they're bots.
Yes.
All of them. Yes.
They're always the istophobes, right? Everyone.
Yes. You're welcome. I mean, the fun thing is about this whole exercise is that I'm used to that happening with the type of topics that I cover, of people making those accusations. For example, right now, the funny thing is Disney is doing the whole thing with anybody who doesn't like the new Obi-Wan. You're an istinophobe, and it's like, this is the new. For us, it's just another day on the internet, right? It's like, oh, internet people calling other internet people istinphobes and everything else as a defense against any criticism. But a lot of people, it's the first time they're doing this, and frankly, I think that's why a lot of people are waking up and listening to people like you and everybody else, and they're so keyed in on this, because they don't realize that this is what happens when you go against what a certain establishment wants you to accept, as the truth.
Yeah, and I've been saying that like a lot, this trial, when I go in the live streams, I talk about that because I saw coming into it, and that's sort of why I wanted to report on it. I'm very interested in different culture war issues, and there always seems to be like an establishment versus people kind of war going on, and they try to pit people against each other. And this was such a pivotal moment because, like, I mean, the followers that I've gained, some of them have like Ultra MAGA on their pages, some of them have Biden on their pages, some of them have Ukraine flags on their pages, and everyone has come together to be like, no, this is wrong. Like, we believe Johnny Depp is innocent, whatever. And then the media tries to paint it like, oh, no, everyone that supports Johnny Depp is like this, when it's not true. And I think a lot of people are waking up and they're like, wait, I'm not like, again, there's very progressive liberal Democrats who follow me about the Johnny Depp side, when the media says that, no, it's just right-wing people. And it's like, I think people are starting to see, okay, that it's not true. Like, I can support these causes and be on both sides of the political spectrum. So
regardless of what your politics are, we saw what we saw. Like, we all saw it together. You're telling people to literally ignore what they saw, and that what they saw isn't true, and you're literally trying to gaslight them as if they hadn't absorbed any of it themselves. I guess they're assuming, which they do in a lot of cases, that nobody was watching the trial, that nobody actually saw the witness testimony, or the actual, Amber speaking, or the closing arguments. But the fact of the matter is, as we've seen, online and through LawTube and everywhere else streaming it, millions of people tuned in to watch this. This is the biggest thing. I mean, since OJ, and I would say it's bigger than OJ because social media has a wider reach than TV did back in that day.
I would say so, and I'd also say it's bigger than OJ because Johnny Depp is like a global international celebrity, and OJ Simpson was, of course, as well. But Johnny Depp is like beloved in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East and Africa, like everywhere. People love Pirates of the Caribbean. They love his movies, things like that. So I had people, I mean, there were people that showed up to the trial from Malta, from Portugal, from I mean, other places, I'm not going to list all of them, but then the people that follow me have, they speak languages all over the world. So, I mean, this trial, I think, is definitely one of the biggest trials, especially of our generation. And it's crazy to see. Did you see the piece by Taylor Lorenz recently?
No, I actually, I think I did. Can you refresh my memory?
Okay, so yeah, I think that just came out yesterday or today, but basically she called out Legal Bites. She called out Alita, and she calls out that umbrella guy.
Oh, was it for the money?
Yeah, she basically, yes.
Yeah, and James, that's not just Taylor Lorenz. The problem of me tracking these things is everybody is talking about them now. Everybody's turning around saying, "You guys made a lot of money on this," as if mainstream media doesn't make millions on this,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
right?
yeah.
As if.
Yeah, and they try to act on like, and she equated basically in the article, she equates it to clout chasers, profit seekers, and then misinformation. She tries to like, she literally sows like that it's similar to COVID misinformation that became popularized like in 2019. Like, I mean, it's just crazy because people like Alita, Emily D. Baker, you, like, y'all are lawyers who are streaming to collectively millions of people. This isn't like you're not TikTok stars, like just trying to get like, some likes to sell t-shirts about the
Right.
trial. So it's just crazy the way that the mainstream media frames it.
Right. Literally, we're stopping working. I mean, during this trial, like I do have other work. I still do legal work, right? I'm an actual lawyer, right? A real lawyer. Oh my God. And I don't do YouTube well, I do YouTube full time, but on top of that, probably, I work probably some weeks 80 hours a week, right? And 40 on YouTube, 40 on this. But during this, it's been like almost every waking hour on this trial. Plus, I've had to like eke out the bare minimum to, get stuff pushed through the last couple weeks in terms of my other legal work. So I did put that aside. And luckily, I'm in a job where I can do that. I can kind of modulate my work hours. But I did as little as I physically could the last couple weeks in order to cover this. So, I mean, I did put aside that time, and people invest their time in this. And I think that what they've gotten, they've deserved over the last, couple weeks, because once again, they put in the work for it. And, we've been covering this and bringing this to the world. So I don't have any issue with that. And I think them trying to shame people is disgusting. Especially people like Tug, that umbrella guy, who was doing this far before he was monetized, far before he was getting, large sums of money on this. He was doing this because he cares about it. He just
Yeah.
happens to have been rewarded now because of that.
Yeah, he was never like a social media personality or an influencer, as she writes in her article. He literally just followed the Johnny, like people like him and Laura B and others who just followed the Johnny Depp case because either they're fans of Johnny Depp or they're just fans of justice. Or, again, on Twitter Spaces, I was talking to people who've been following this for over 5 years just because they're that moved by the case. So
Yep.
to pick them all like influencers, it's insane.
Yeah. And shout out to Graham. I think this is good. This is good. You made money. Boo. Oh, sorry. I thought this was America. Yeah. Only corporations can make money. I mean, it is funny how they try to pull that one. So in terms of the response, though, I mean, do you think that, well, actually, let me start with this, though. Dr. Spiegel was complaining about getting some hate, right? I don't know if you saw that article. How do you feel about it?
Read it yet, but I did see about it.
Okay. So he said, here's what he said. He said that they wrote mean things on YouTube channel comments about him. Like, not, he doesn't have a YouTube channel, but just on general, mean things were said in the comments. That was one thing he said. And his WebMD had some mean comments on it. And some people sent him some mean messages to his work email. So, I mean, to me, I said, okay, my point of view is leave his work alone, right? Don't harass the guy at his job. But mean comments on YouTube is open game. I mean, you went to a public trial, took the money. I think, look, everybody gets mean comments, right? You get mean comments. I get mean comments. Everybody gets mean comments, right?
Yeah, anyone who's a public figure gets mean comments or, things like that. And it's sad, but like, I mean, you see these stories, where, a restaurant is accused of doing this or a cafe is accused of doing that, and they get bombed with like thousands of negative Yelp reviews. Sometimes people show up and hold up signs, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't see like the argument that is really so hard to deal with when you place yourself in that situation. You're going to get that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I mean, people should prepare him for that. But again, remember, he said he doesn't know anything about acting. So
right.
He doesn't know about that at all. He doesn't know.
He has no idea. He has no clue. He has no clue. So somebody said you debunked this, but what did you think about the TikTok guy who's claiming to be the juror? I mean, I'm sure that you were sent this. I'm sure you were forwarded this. This was his TikTok has been taken down. The Seeking Infinite guy who said he was a juror. Someone said that you debunked this. Did you have a chance to look at this and debunk this, or are they just saying that?
No, I did. I was following it from kind of the beginning of when he started posting, because I was a little suspicious about it. A lot of followers have looked into it as well. They did find other social media pages by the same person, we believe. The voices match pretty well. And he's like a fitness inspiration, like kind of influencer, like motivation stuff. I think he was just creating this page to ride on the clout and then maybe sell it. Because he got 50,000 followers on TikTok in basically a day before we all started calling him out. I think he thought he would get more and not get called out. But yeah, he deleted it. I don't think it's real at all. He didn't answer anything specific to what we actually didn't say. Like a lot of the stuff he said was like things that I know that I've said on live stream or I've heard Larry or Bob or Ian say. So it was kind of funny. And then yeah, I don't think he was real.
I heard DUI guy call him out like almost immediately, be like, "This is kind of bullshit." And it all seemed like stuff you could, like you said, copy paste from any other commentator like out there on LawTube or anywhere, like on Twitter. Just copy paste and drop it into a TikTok. And that's a great idea, to be able to pump that TikTok up and then flip it over once it's got 1 million subs or whatever.
Yeah, if you've been watching the trial, like especially like someone like me who, and I've told my story, so I'm actually not surprised that someone did this. Like I was nobody, quote unquote, but I was just a law nerd. Like I watch Emily D. Baker, I watch Legal Bites, I watch you, I watch Rakita. Like, so
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, James.
Why?
No, it's like if you watch me, I'm very sorry. I mean, that's
everyone's got like their own
their own flavor. Right.
I love it. It's fun to hear like different people's takes on the same topic. So I've been following y'all, and then this trial was so different, and I was actually staying in Virginia, quite close to Fairfax at the time, anyway. And I heard that Emily and Alita both didn't really know anything about the jury, and I was like, well, why not go and then report? And I didn't. I was actually at first sending super chats to Emily, like telling her random things from an anonymous YouTube account until I ran into Larry, who was like, hey, like we'll talk about it, and then I started going his stream. But yeah, so
yeah. I mean, like you were already happened to be there beforehand, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go there specifically for it. I mean, maybe you showed up at the trial for it, once you realized it was so big, you're like, hey, I'm in, right? But
well, yeah, and it wasn't even as big, I guess at the time. It wasn't being reported on that much. It was just there were a lot of people showing up, but it wasn't being like publicized. I mean, it still was a little publicized, but after Amber, it really became like all over the place. So I guess, the point of what I was saying is that I grew so much. I went from zero, like I created a Twitter account from 0 to then 70, 80,000 followers. So I think it's like people saw that online and, now are coming out of the woodworks as clout chasers, maybe because they realize, I mean, Emily went from like 100 to 600. Alita went from like what before the trial, like 50,000 to now 250.
Was Emily D. Baker at 100K subs or was she 200? I think she was at 200.
But still, I mean, she jumped.
That's a triple. That's a triple. Yeah, that's great.
Like she was around. Yeah, and I know Alita went a lot, like a huge amount too. But this. Yeah,
Alita went from like 70 to 200.
Okay, so yeah.
I mean, everybody has done at least a 2x. I went from 30 to almost 75 now. I mean, everybody is done, a huge percentage increase. Of course, you understand that some of those people were just watching for the trial, and now we're going to go back to covering our mainstream topics. And of course, some people, aren't as interested in the other topics we're going to cover. That's fine, right? But it's still very huge for all of our channels, especially for the space in general. Right, because there's lots of new viewers in the space in general, which is great, which is awesome, really is. Let me read this one from Restless Medic, $20 super chat, which says Janine Pereiro said it best. Amber Heard set real victims of both genders back because every time they'll compare them to Amber Heard. Also, the first time she was caught lying was because the jury's licensed to discredit all of her lies. What do you think about that? And guys, by the way, just to say, I don't normally do this. I normally like take every super chat, but because we're talking here and I want to make sure the conversation flows, I'll only stop the conversation for like 20 and up. Other than that, I'll get them at the end. I'll just read them all at the end, guys. But what do you think about this being the first time that Amber Heard was caught lying? Can you kind of believe that narrative that, Amber Heard, number one, that she set back victims, and number two, that this was really the first time she was caught lying?
I mean, I guess this is the first time she was publicly caught lying because the jury said it, and they, and that's a legal that's a decision. So
Decision, yeah.
yeah, so before, I mean, we could watch the videos and think she was lying, but now it's like decided, okay, she was lying about certain things. And we saw the contradiction in her testimony and the evidence actually, play out in court. I agree with Judge Janine Pereira.
Pereira, yeah.
I think that she did set this back. I think she set the movement back, just like Jussie Smollett said.
Yes. That's the best comparison ever. I love that when people are saying it. I've been saying it from the beginning. I think this is the Jussie Smollett of domestic violence. I mean, just like with race crime, you have now, gender-based crime, and this is setting it back, right? It's setting back the clock. She could have just, told the truth or not made a claim, and we would have been fine. She could have stepped away from a divorce settlement with $7 million. We wouldn't even be here right now.
Yeah, it's the fact that she wanted, I guess, to ruin his career and either, I guess, blackmail him or whatever she thought she would get out of it. Or maybe she just really thought this would elevate her, just like Jussie Smollett thought that situation might elevate him. I mean, she did. She was an ACLU ambassador because of this.
I think it's all an escalation of a fight. It's really? all the escalation of a fight. And honestly, the weird thing is, I think it was all to get Johnny's attention. Because that's what she ultimately wanted, and that's what he ultimately denied her, was his attention, never paying attention to her again. I think it is escalation, the ultimate escalation.
Really just payback, like, wow, like, I just want your attention. I mean, that's true. She was staring at him in court, like, most of the time. It was crazy.
That's weird, right?
Yeah, it was.
That's like, weird.
She's sitting on, I usually sat on her side because I could see the jury on her side better. And she would, I mean, directly look to the point where he wouldn't purposely not look at her, but she would look at him. It was very odd, and the jury saw it, and everyone saw it. It just, creepy.
It's weird. Okay, I'm going to read this one because it's 10 pounds, but I'm going to read it because I know people are spamming my chat, and people have been spamming my DMs and spamming this. So I know that there's a petition on change.org for the Chief Justice in the UK to reopen Johnny Depp's appeal against the defamation case with the UK Sun. If people want to go sign that, particularly UK people want to go sign that, that's great. Go do that, please. Right? I have a massive UK audience. I got that because I'm streaming when I'm in Seoul. I'm typically streaming at a good time for the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So I do have a lot of people that are on my channel from those other countries. Right now, I'm doing a deviation because I'm in the US and also because I wanted to speak to you. But one thing I will say is that I would love it if they open it, but I understand that they can't modify their law based on our decisions. And just like we should not be modifying our law based on their decisions. I thought this whole point of Elaine and that some other people have made about the UK decision is horrible, not just because it wasn't against Amber, but because it's the United Kingdom. It's a different country. And to try to apply their laws to the United States just seems odd. It's not presidential. It's something that we haven't done before. And it's kind of a weird PR angle. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that specifically as a tactic.
Yeah, I mean, very weird PR angle, and I think it does. I think it resonates more for like an international crowd because I mean, my response and the response that I've liked from people online is like, didn't we fight a war against England and Britain to like not use their legal system? Like,
right.
I thought we don't care about what they do because of that. Like, I mean, no shade to them. Like, they're our neighbors now and they're our brothers now and our partners and allies, of course. But like, we did fight them in a war so that we wouldn't have to have the same government and legal system. But that's just
right. And there's an advantage of having a system that relies on a jury rather than on a judge, right? Yeah. So that decision was made by a judge. Our decision was made by a jury, right? There's different reasoning behind that. There's different logic behind that, right? And now they may be perfectly happy with that in their system, and that's fine, right? They can ride with that. But in the American system, and based on our values, our American values, we value the jury, and I think we've stuck with that. I think it's got some good points. So yeah. Wait, hold on. Someone said I read the super chat wrong. She's saying that. She's saying that the first time Amber Heard lied, the jury realized. Let me make sure I read that correctly because I don't want to misquote somebody if it was meant a different way. Just make sure. So she said, Also, the first time she was caught lying was the jury's license to discredit all of her lies. First time she was caught lying was the jury's license to discredit all of her lies. Well, I mean, I guess what we're saying is, okay, if you lie once, you're going to lie again, right? So once she was caught lying once, it was done. So yeah, taking it that way, if you think I'm reading that wrong, but in another case, they didn't believe her, right? She was caught lying. But yes, if you're on the stand and you lie even once, it doesn't look good. And I'm sure that when you saw with the jury, when they caught her in a lie, maybe what do you think the first one was from your standpoint in the courtroom? Do you think it was pledge versus donation? Was that the first one? Or do you think there was a lie before that they caught her in? The jury, in terms of their reactions.
I mean, I would say it was during her testimony because they had heard other people's testimonies. And I think even though some of them were Johnny's like people, maybe they didn't necessarily work for him anymore and they were quite credible. Like the video testimonies were before Amber, correct?
The police was before, yes.
That's what I thought. I think that when the police did that testimony and then Amber basically said on the stand that the police were lying or weren't doing their jobs, like insinuating that she didn't know. I saw the jury start to lose interest in her, especially Juror 9, who we've always talked about. He was, always giving her kind of like, like raising his eyebrows and kind of looking at her funny. I think she dug that. And especially when she did the whole story about and then he's going to cut my face with the bottle. And then the other things that he did, she lost them. I think Dr. Curry's testimony about how people with, certain disorders, elaborate or exaggerate and use flowery language. I think her testimony went right along with that. So I think the other testimonies that they didn't even need the other testimonies to discredit her, even though they did. I think her testimony was the first lie that they really found.
She kind of nuked herself. And guys, that's the reading. And then when I reread it, that's what I understand. And I see Reckless saying, so what you said was when the jury caught her in a lie, there was a jury's license to discredit all further testimonies lies. Yes. And that's what happens with witnesses. When you can catch a witness in one lie, they're discredited. That's why impeachment is so important. That's why all attorneys are trying to impeach the witnesses, i.e. catch them in a lie. So they're trying to say, hey, in your deposition, you said something different. You didn't say what you're trying to say right now. And you can see they try to do that with all the witnesses on both sides, right? You're trying to get them, catching them, saying something that they said before or that they didn't say, and, coming up with something contrary to it. That's a great way to get people to not believe somebody on the stand. The problem is that from my standpoint, tell me if you're wrong, but James, was there any of Johnny's witnesses that you think Amber's team successfully caught in a lie or discredited?
I think the lawyer wasn't the best.
Which one? Richard Marks?
Didn't Adam testify or no?
Oh, Adam Waldman.
I don't think that was the best. I think they didn't. Well, they said that he was found. They found that was defamation. I don't think they loved his statements. I don't think they loved that.
Is it because he's a lawyer? Because he's like, oh, slimy lawyer. Seems like he's, being evasive because of the objections to attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, a little bit. And I totally understand it watching it. Like, yeah, of course. But there were some questions that were like, even if it was like they could have let him answer maybe, like, but it did come across like they had stuff.
Though. As soon as you say something, it waves it. That's why showing that was kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
I didn't like the video deposition for that. I really didn't. I think it didn't show it in real time. I think Elaine would have been fumbling around and she was trying to do that in real time. I think they were able to edit it and jump around so it looked much more smooth than it.
They did. And you could tell there was a lot of times like different objections and they would edit those out. So it looked like everything was just going seamlessly and stuff. And they would even edit their answers. Like, you know what I mean? So it just, yeah, I didn't like that either. It wasn't a good one for Johnny for sure. And I mean, and we see because that made us, I think, a significant impact in what the jury found at that final decision.
Yes, I think it definitely did. So you think that the weakness of Adam Waldman's testimony led to that counterclaim actually being upheld, and them saying, actually, we're gonna allow this one because we're not big fans of Adam Waldman.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can definitely see that being a thing, is particularly since like if there was a holdout, which I guess there was a holdout probably, right? I mean, are you of the camp that there was probably one person who was more like, hey, we gotta do this charge against Johnny, and not give the clean sweep to Amber? Do you think that was coming from more than one person? Do you think that was unanimous?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think there was a holdout. I think it was more so that everyone kind of felt like, one, we don't want to come out of this looking like we are only siding with Johnny, because I think there was evidence. I don't think he was physically abusive towards her, but I think there's probably a lot that maybe they both lied about and that we don't know. And the relationship was obviously toxic and emotionally abusive, even though I think she probably caused most of it. But I think the jury might have found it a little bit more of like equal side, where like, well, we can't really rule against her because there were times that she was maybe like, I don't know, put in bad situations too. And then also the fact that, the lawyer did make those statements. And there, again, I think in Northern Virginia, in this area, people are very by the books. They want to be like very, specific. They can be kind of sticklers about rules sometimes here in this
That's
area.
You're saying that's the culture there? Is there rule sticklers in Northern Virginia?
Yeah, I don't know if people knew that about DC and the people around DC, but they're quite, yeah.
I stay out of DC when I can. I mean, I stay there as short as I can. I remember going there and getting on. I was on, what was it? Back then there was only Bumble, so I was going on dates in DC, and everybody was a like volunteer or an intern or whatever, because I was in my 20s. So it was very, very interesting, and it was just like this weird, bizarro world that only exists in DC, where like everyone's doing something that's either like an NGO or political, right? And they're all like obsessed with it. So when they came out, and I wasn't like, I was more obsessed with having good conversations rather than having political conversations, purely political conversations, like more substantive conversations. It wasn't
Oh,
the
that's not
best spot.
DC. No, DC is like, what do you do? What's your security clearance? How close to the White House do you work? And
Yep.
that's all people care about, really. So
Yep.
yeah, and Northern Virginia is quite the same, because you have, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize this area, especially Amber's team in Elaine, who made some really derogatory comments, I think, during the case, like insinuating that basically the jury like didn't know what it was like to have multiple homes, and like didn't like
Wait, hold on. Elaine insinuated that the jury was like what, poor, or
Amber
something.
Amber did.
Amber did.
Yes, when she was explaining, and she was talking about how when she married Johnny, like he had like a couple houses, and they like, they had, anyway, she like turned to them and she's like, I know that seems like crazy, that like, we would, and I'm like, these people are like, they live in Northern Virginia. This is one of the richest suburbs in the country. Like, you're talking to
It's
them
not
like,
poverty.
yeah, like she was talking to them like, and they're like, I lived in the middle of the country. Like, no, but you know how people on the coast think of people in the middle of the
Yes,
country. Like,
yes, they think of them. They think down on them. Yes, they
yeah, and
absolutely
I'm
do.
like, this isn't even like, these people aren't in the middle of the country. Like, this is Northern Virginia. Like Lockheed Martin here, the Supreme Court justices live down the street. Like, what world are you in, Amber? You know what I mean? But
She's in the two-horse town she came from in Texas before
yeah, same.
she moved in. She's used to talking down to the people where she's from, and she viewed them the same way, like podunk people from her town of 5,000 or whatever the fuck it is, where these are like you said, these are professionals that make six figures often, and these are well-off people that probably do have vacation homes in other places other than DC.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people in DC have a house in DC and then a house either like on the shore, like either on the East Coast or down in Florida or somewhere in the middle of the country, or even bigger than, more like international. So
But James, it's also, I'm going to say this too as a Floridian, and I say this with all levels of disrespect to Southern California. It's an LA thing. Like, I remember I had a girlfriend from LA, and I remember going to LA, and I'm from Miami, major South Florida, major city in the world, not just in the United States, major world city, and people be like, "Oh, do you even have that there in Miami?" And I'm like, What the fuck do you think LA, like, do you think you guys are the only people as a level of technology? Like everywhere else is, back in like the 1820s, it was just the hubris. And I have a relative who's in the film industry there in Hollywood, and the amount of arrogance is off the charts. So I'm not surprised that Amber, being in that environment, absorbed some of that and then projected some of it out into the atmosphere. So yeah, someone said plebs. Yes, the plebs. So yeah, okay. In terms of the jurors, though, you don't think that at this point we've seen any testimony from them. And forget about that TikTok. You haven't heard of any other leaks or credible information or information getting out on the jurors today that you feel is credible.
No. So there was a TikTok account that ended up being satire, who was pretending to be Juror 7. And then, I spoke to Chanley and I spoke to some other people, and I was hanging around the juror area after, and I'll just say that they don't want to talk. They don't want to be public. They don't really, I think that a lot of them didn't care about this to begin with. Again, like Northern Virginia, like I know a lot of people, like, first of all, you have all of us that really care about it, because to us, it's more than just Johnny Depp. It represents a lot of other things we see, just, whether it's Jussie Smollett or like even like Disney or like Marvel, yes, or, you know what I mean? It all fits in together. So that's why we care about it. But there's a lot of people that just care about the celebrity aspect of that. And again, people in Northern Virginia, just as you said, they care about politics. They care about NGOs. They care about the government, the White House stuff. They don't really care about celebrities. They don't really care about this stuff. So a lot of the jury, like, they don't want their 15 minutes of fame. They don't want to go on Good Morning America and talk about their experience. They don't want to talk about it and that kind of stuff. They're not looking for that. A few of them are quite wealthy. I'll say that just from the cars that they drive. So I don't think this is something that they want to make money off of.
Right. They're not trying to sell a book. They're not trying to sell a movie. They're not trying to be, juror number 9, my tell-all story. So,
actually, they want the publicity. I don't think they want to be found. I don't think they want any of it,
Good. Yeah. Good. That's great. That means they're good people, and frankly, they're rational. They're very rational.
Yeah.
So let me ask the question from you. So what lesson would you say you've learned from this trial, James? Because I want to, because this is your first trial you sat through end to end, right? Is there anything about the courtroom process that surprised you, or anything you got, you kind of internalized from sitting through the whole court process?
It's a lot more public than I thought it would be. It's a lot more accessible. And maybe this case is particular just because the cameras were allowed in and public was allowed in, but just being able to, like, as a member of the public, enter and see that and be involved in that kind of the trial, the whole situation was interesting. I mean, I thought that, again, the jury would be like privately, like, bring in with like sheriffs and then like whatever, but it was like we were all kind of together, and not together, but you saw, like, I'd see the lawyers out in the hallway, like walking around, like you can just like go up and like say hi to Ben or Camille, you know what I mean? And like say good morning to them or whatever and say good job. Like that was real.
I will say though, I saw a picture of Camille out with one of her girls, and they were, I think, out clubbing or something like that. And, they were smiling and obviously having a good time. But I bet those people are now like rock stars wherever they go, whenever they're out. I'm sure. I'm positive, just because of the way this trial was on social media. I'm sure they'd get a lot of attention, which is good for them, especially the ones that get positive attention. And I think that those witnesses that were for Johnny, I think they're going to have a golden ticket to be expert witnesses in future trials. I think Shannon Curry is going to be the fucking assassin for any case. Like, they can, because she, aside from being hot, like that aside, like, she handled herself so professionally against the unprofessionalness of Elaine and Rottenborn, right? Against their insinuations, their accusations, which would infuriate anybody, between the muffins and the dinner and drinks, which is literally takeout.
Yeah.
Like, that's so wildly inappropriate. You're trying to imply that, like, they had some romantic rendezvous, or something like that. It was just wildly inappropriate. It didn't go to, it was, frankly, it wasn't relevant. I know why the judge wouldn't overrule it on relevance factors, because the threshold is very low and they're trying to establish bias. But once again, to try to go there, it's low, and it shows they didn't have any substance to combat her arguments. They just had to go to, well, you're clearly a bad biased person.
Yeah, they just attacked her character. That and saying that basically because she wasn't board certified. I mean, real like those three things,
Really?
when avoiding everything that she said, and they knew that because Dr. Hughes had absolutely nothing. All her evidence was therapist notes. So
Yep.
they knew that all they could do was attack Dr. Shannon Curry on random things that had nothing to do with it, like the muffins and things like that, which, to what you said, she handled perfectly. She never got like upset or irritated or combative with Elaine. She would like sit back and she'd kind of like purse her lips or she'd smile and laugh. And it was perfect. It was just enough to show that like she wasn't lying because she had an emotional reaction that was authentic. So she wasn't lying because she was like kind of like, taken aback that Elaine would treat her that way, but she wasn't combative and aggressive that put the jury off at all. She was very respectful. And in person, she's even more beautiful. So I think they was such a good witness to have.
She seemed like a good person, like just like listening and like hearing it. Like she seemed like she's a genuinely good person.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
she's another one, like, if you smiled at her, like, I made a point, like, because she's, like, one of my favorite people now. I said hi to her in the hallway, and she was really sweet, and she said hi and stuff, so, I mean, maybe she's just doing that because she doesn't want people to dislike her, but she does seem like a genuinely nice person.
yeah. This is a good super chat. I will ask because it's related. But what's your opinion on the stenographer catching flack from certain
Oh,
Amber media outlets? Did you hear about that? People were, making nasty comments to her. Yeah. What would
that's
you?
so mean. Judy was one of the nicest people, and the judge loved her, like, she's you know what I mean? For people to come after her, I mean, she did. I think, she was hired by Johnny's team. She was brought in. She wasn't from the court, so it is true. And she did. I mean, they put her up at the Ritz Carlton. It was nice, but
She
she was
was making a record for them, though. I mean, that's the whole point. She was their employee.
exactly. She wasn't, and she's just writing it. She's not like she had nothing to do with the case. She had nothing to do with the jury. So for them to come and she wasn't partying with them at all. Like she was, and the most time she was actually hanging out with the sheriffs. She would go and sit with the sheriffs and the people outside of the courtroom and just talk to them and stuff. And she was friends with the judge. She had a very good relationship. She even joked about, because there was one time, I think, who was it? Someone was on the stand and the judge asked a question and someone else answered. And she was like, "That's not Judy's voice." Like she said, it was really funny. That I love the judge. She has a great personality. But yeah, Judy, I mean, she was such a nice woman. To come after her like that was just, it's low. It's really low.
It's really low, and that's what I've seen really from the Amber team is just these like constant attempts for low blows. It's constant attempt to attack people on their ethics, their salad, the money they make, and everything else. It's just it's very odd. It's very odd, to call you ifs and phobes. Nick Rekieta got called a far right person, which is hilarious.
What did you call him that?
Yeah, there's an article that said that he's far right, just like Christy Mayer. I don't know if you know Christy Mayer, the comedian, and Tim Pool, which I laughed about because Tim Pool is the furthest from far right.
He's like a left wing.
He's like a fence sitter. He's like a,
right? Like
yeah, very milk toast fence sitter. I mean, yes, he'll use the word Civil War, but like he's not making far right arguments like ever. So yeah, I mean, he wears a beanie and he's got chickens. Like that's what's going on there. So
yeah.
and anyways, it's been very odd. And of course, James, you'll be called far right, down there in Broward County, the most conservative county in Florida. And I'm being sarcastic right now.
Yeah, not at all.
It's the only county that's like voted blue consistently for the last.
I think it's like a 50
years.
Spread between blue and red in Broward County.
It's like one of the worst. I think it is the worst. I think it's the biggest spread.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just hilarious to me. What's next for you personally? So what are you doing in your life personally? What are your thoughts personally for the future? And where are you going to take this? Because now you've got a Twitter presence. Now you've got, a YouTube presence. You can stream. What are you going to do, James?
I don't know. I mean, I guess lead on what everyone else is doing. I'm going to see, I ask people that follow me, what do they want to see? What kind of content? Or what do they want me to investigate? I guess, I could go to different cases, different people seem to like that when I, report on that, or maybe just cultural events. I don't know. Any suggestions?
I mean, you don't have a wife and kids, right? You're not burdened down. You're in
No.
a great position. Yeah, that's what I'd say. So you're in a great position. You're kind of like in the same situation as me. You can travel around. You can do things. I frankly, I tell people, if I hadn't had certain trips booked already and my tickets booked already, I would have been at the trial too, because I'm the same way. I can travel. I can go wherever I want. I live in Seoul, South Korea, but I'm willing to go wherever to cover something or to report on something if it's important, right? If it's something that people want, right? I'm not just going to run out and fly to Australia to cover the fight between two dingoes in somebody's backyard. But if it's something that's like meaningful, then yeah, sure, for sure. I'm sure that with LawTube and especially the news space, there's going to be a topic that really drives you. And you're going to be able to latch on. I forget. Did you finish? Are you in college still? Or what are you doing up there?
No, I graduated. I have a degree in economics, so
Okay.
I have an analyst background and stuff, which is why I love like reporting and going into things and really like writing notes, like really diligent notes. That's so yeah, I mean, I never thought I never thought I would kind of be like a journalist by any means or anything like that, but also the whole main like corporate legacy media has just made it so difficult not to want to get involved and not want to tell the truth about situations that you see right before your eyes, but then they report on something 100% different. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. That's Bizarro World.
Yeah.
That's Bizarro World. So let me get through some of these super chats. Those are the main questions I had for you, but let me get some of these are for you, which is Miss Mugwump says, ask James what the jury did when Elaine tried to impersonate Johnny Depp's voice.
That was a quick moment. They didn't really, I mean, we were kind of like taken aback, like, and I'm sure a lot of people see my expressions. I was a little bit more because I'm a very like emotional kind of person. I'm very quick with the expressions. The jury was very careful though. They don't really like even like the Amber Turd comment that Dennison kept making. They didn't really respond to that. They responded more to things that they found so unbelievable or like so like when they had to think they would respond. So like, making faces like leaning back and doing like this or like doing like this, like looking, like that kind of stuff. But they didn't do like, unless there was a couple times like Juror 2 would laugh a couple times when Johnny Depp would make jokes during his testimony. And then Juror 8, she was a woman that was let go. Actually, both of them, Juror 2 and Juror 8 were both let go. Juror 8, she was a woman like probably in her like 50s or 60s. And she laughed a few times at Johnny Depp, but not during the mean stuff. She didn't like the mean stuff.
But she did laugh.
She did laugh at the end. The first time I ever saw her, she giggled. What was it? Oh, it was the Twitter stuff. It was when the lawyer was talking about how he was banned from Twitter. And that's why I tweeted that I think she's had issues with Twitter because she was chuckling about that. And
yeah, she's gotten banned, huh? She knows about that ban hammer.
Yeah, I think she's tweeted some things that got banned.
Spicy tweets. She's got some spicy tweets. All right. All right. We've all had that experience of getting banned off of something. I mean, everybody knows about that.
I had banned for like 24 hours, on Twitter before.
I got banned off Tinder. I mean, it happens, guys. Everybody's banned off something.
I don't want to know that story.
It's not hard. It's not hard. Trust me. It's not hard. Okay. No, it's super easy. Tinder's pretty woke. Saran says, question for James. I was at the Frying Pan Park today. Wallets were stolen, car break-ins. Why are your wealthy Nova swamp creatures stealing wallets out of cars?
Frying Pan Park? I don't know where that is.
Where's the Frying Pan Park? Saran, where's the Frying Pan Park? You're just like, Frying Pan Park. Are you talking about like some random park in Fairfax? Or what's up with that?
I don't know. I mean,
is there a crime wave up there? Like, is there a crime wave going on?
Well, I have to say people will, especially in DC, they'll go to the suburbs specifically because they know that people in suburbs like are kind of like maybe will leave their cars open. They're less like, if you're in a neighborhood that you trust, you're a little bit more, relaxed. And actually people will like, especially like gang members and different stuff like for initiation, they'll send like, teenagers out to the suburbs to break into cars and steal stuff. So maybe that is happening. Let me look. Frying Pan Park is near Reston. That's not really Fairfax. That's kind of out there. That's by the airport. So that's like by the airport. It's still the suburbs, but that's not like Northern Virginia. I mean, it's still Northern Virginia, but when I think of it's like McLean, Arlington, Fairfax, like Fairfax is like one of the most historic counties in the country and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Carjackings happen everywhere. I guess.
Yeah, they do happen everywhere. I mean, there's crime. It's America. I mean, there's crime, especially particularly in the big cities and the suburbs. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. We had one from Max Bura, which is kind of made me laugh for a second. Which is
they are swamp creatures.
Let's see, MILF math. Dr. Muffin / Mommy greater than Dr. Muffin Top / Karen, Dr. Hughes. Poor Dr. Hughes. I mean, having to be juxtaposed against Dr. Curry is hard, especially when, but at the same time, they selected their experts. So, I mean, to me, I'm just astounded that they didn't think about likability for any of their experts at all whatsoever. It seems like to me they just skipped that quality in most of Amber's witnesses.
I feel like they went for the most unlikable witnesses, and it's not just once. It was like every single one of them was like a version of Johnny's witness, but just a way more unlikable version. Like, nothing wrong with Dr. Kerr. Like, I don't want to like diss her or whatever, you know, but like, she was not nice. Like, she didn't come across nice. You know what I mean? She got up there and she trashed Johnny. Like, Dr. Curry actually never trashed Amber. Like, she just spoke very matter-of-factly. Like, she said what it needed to be said. But, like, Dr. Curry went up there and said, like, opinions, you know, made references to, like, you know, oh, and then the whole, like, basically just using one gender to describe, like, the victim versus the perpetrator. You know, that just came off so unlikable. Yeah.
Yeah. That was not well perceived by anybody. Let's put it that way. I'll just read them off my list here. So Carly says, will there be an appeal? What do you expect? So were people talking about that in court? Because I've said I think there are grounds for appeal. Now, whether she has the money to put up for it, because she's got to put up money to appeal in Virginia, that's another thing. But were people talking about that? Did you hear people talking about appeal when the verdict came down in court?
I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure they put in like the appeals before even. I think there was. Is that possible?
No, you can't file an appeal before you have the transcript.
Or like
you can talk about doing it.
Because there was a bunch of stuff that the judge had read out, like issues that they had already before the verdict, like issues with different parts of the trial, and she like read them. She's like read how many there were. Or something
reading out her objections for the record, but in order to actually officially file an appeal, you have to have a full transcript of the trial, like a verbatim transcript. So
then I don't know. I mean, I guess Amber's gonna do what she can. I mean, it seems like Elaine was setting up for appeal, but I don't know what grounds, and then I don't know what the judge would say, because the judge was a very good, diligent, impartial judge. So unless they could prove that there was like a serious issue with the jury, which, I mean, at this point, they knew that there were people outside with signs and stuff. I mean, every big publicized trial has a lot of people outside, you know, crowds. So I don't think that's an argument to be made.
Right. And guys, by the way, I saw somebody else mentioning it. I've already mentioned the petition to open up the UK trial. If you want to do that, you can go click on that. You can go to I think Black Belt Barrister's got it on his page, and you can just look up the petition to reopen the Sun trial. That's out there, guys. Sharon says, "Thank you, James. It changed the experience of watching live court." So I mean, you've got your people out there simping for you, James. It's not all haters in the chat. Just so you know.
I'm not the
Mo said, I don't know if anyone's really said this, but the jury batch she showed was from California, not Virginia, not real jury. Did you bring that up? I didn't hear that one, but that's a good point.
People were posting that on TikTok. That guy's response was, that was my old jury summons. Like, but it's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't even say, I've reached out so many times to say, you don't even have to FaceTime me. Just tell me what you wore the last day, or tell me what another juror wore the last day.
Right. Any sort of confirmation that you knew what the jury was like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kim says, I got a warning and deleted TikTok because I said pirate booty in reference to my 8-year-old grandson's pirate birthday party and all the gifts you're seeing. Yeah. That's the level of like they take you down for anything because they don't care. It's so cheap to get new users in. They don't really care that they'll ban you. Cherry says, untapped area for James. Veteran suicides still 22 a day and more. They need a voice. Country seems to have forgotten, and that's a crime. You have the passion, James. So much information out there. Yeah, and there's so many areas that you can cover as a journalist. Obviously, if there's an interest and there's a will, there's a way to get that information out there. And we need more good journalists, especially more good, honest journalists who are out there doing the real, on the foot, on the floor journalism, not sponsored content, not paid for by Pepsi to go out there and get to go get the, or paid for by Monsanto to tell you how their products are great. None of that stuff. They need actual honest reporters. And I think that's the thing that people liked about you, James, is because to me, I mean, and don't take this the wrong way, but the fact that you're a new guy at this and relatively inexperienced makes you almost more credible, because you're not shilling for one of the mainstream media outlets. You're not coming with some sort of established bias. You're not coming in, saying, okay, I worked for Fox or CNN or whatever, MSNBC for 20 or 30 years. You're just a guy who came out there, first trial, and you're reporting on it honestly as you saw it. So anyways, I think that's why I appreciated that from my standpoint.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I just did this because basically, again, because of you all. I mean, you all are the same thing. Like you aren't bound to a corporate entity or some news thing or whatever.
Fuck no.
Yeah. You mean
never.
Yeah, you say what you like is on your mind, and sometimes LawTube disagrees with each other, but like,
we disagree. We disagree with each other. So the thing is, people saw us on the Depp trial. People think we all agree. We definitely fundamentally disagree on a lot of things.
Yeah,
we're not all politically aligned. We're not all culturally aligned. We're not all morally aligned. Like I'm far more degenerate than most people. I mean, there's there's all sorts of spectrums, and you can follow the people you like, follow the people you're interested in, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, and we all accept each other, for having their beliefs. Now, there's people that you collaborate with more because maybe your styles are complementary, right? Or maybe your shows are complementary. But I like everybody. I don't have a problem with anybody, and I respect their opinions and I respect their positions.
Yeah, everyone's being authentic, at least in what they're saying. They're not saying something because, oh, well, I'm going to lose my sponsorship or I'm going to lose my contract with MSNBC if I don't act like this. So, following everyone, all of you is like, it inspired me to just report like basically what I saw, like as a layperson, like just report for people. And at first I was kind of nervous because I feel like I still am this like surreal world where I think all my followers are fake, like that it's like robots and like they're all gonna just
they are. Well, they're all robots because all Johnny Depp followers are robots. Let's be clear.
Well, that's true. That's right. We're all bots anyway, according to the media.
Robots are super chatting me right now. It's all robots. Yeah. It's all robot. It's robot cash.
It's just it's surreal. So it's hard for me to imagine that like people actually like want me to like continue reporting and continue doing stuff, but I absolutely will. And I think doing it in a way that like maybe I'll share like just what I see, like the facts to other people like you all, and I'll go around and I think YouTube offers such a great platform to like, I can go and then just report to the people and the people can just ask the super chats. I don't have to write an article for the Washington Post and get edited and say the editor say, well, you can't have this because, this doesn't work well for our access with this senator. You know what I mean? Like I can literally say whatever and people decide if they like what I want to say. And I love that. I think
and you can change how you feel. That's the whole thing. Like you can feel one way about it in the beginning and then change your mind. The thing with the mainstream media, it seems like they get so fixed on like having a position and never changing their position. Like if they get caught changing their position, that's the worst thing ever. And to me, that's the height of dishonesty. You could have gone into this trial being neutral or maybe even being pro Amber, and then listened to the trial, saw the facts, and were like, you know what? Johnny Depp has a point here, right? Like maybe Depp should recover here. You could have done that, and that's genuine. Versus mainstream media, which seems to come in and saying, okay, we're on team X or team Y, and we can't change no matter what. We can't deviate. We can't have a nuanced view. It's all in or all out. And that's not reality. It's just not realistic. The real Von B says, wasn't it disrespectful for Elaine to continuously be so argumentative when objected? Everyone should stop and listen to the judge's decision, right? How did you feel about that, James?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think it took a toll on the judge. Like she was visibly upset with Elaine at sometimes. And I think for that very reason that Elaine was too argumentative. They would both like say things like, like even if after like the judge would have to be like, sustain, like I'm going to sustain it. And Elaine would be like, but, and she'd be like, So it was just weird. And the problem is the jury sees that. It's not good to have your lawyer fighting with the judge in front of the jury. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
have the your lawyer be argumentative with witnesses or other people who they see as credible and unbiased parts of the trial. You know, people liked Ben, they liked Camille, they liked Dr. Curry. And that's just, people are people. So jurors, if you like someone and you find somebody credible, when you see someone else being argumentative towards that person, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
I completely agree with that, like 100%. By the way, Saran said that the park was near Reston. I don't know where Reston is. Do you know where Reston is?
It is, as I said, it's near the airport, so I mean, it is the suburbs and stuff, but it's there's some strip malls and it's near the airport. So
Strip
airport.
malls, yeah. Strip malls are so typical. Star Stellar says, "Love you from Texas, Andrew." Oh, welcome. I'll be in Texas next week. Found you through the Depp case. Just making sure. Actually, I'll be in Texas twice. I'll be in next week, and then I think I'm going to Anime Matsuri, so that should be fun. Just making sure I am able to watch your new content on the daily. Yes, you can watch it. I typically take a break on the weekend. I'll usually put out like a clip or two. I usually don't stream on Saturdays. I just wanted to talk with James, and this is kind of the only opportunity while this topic is still on. I'm probably going to move into new topics next week. I'll cover this, as it comes in, but I definitely, am moving on. But it's going to be great to be working with the same people. I'd love to talk with James again, on different topics and new content. And I may actually be kicking my second channel into gear here to talk about topics that are not news or law related. That channel is the Illegal Mindset. So I may be launching that one soon. I haven't put any videos on it yet, but I'll tell you guys when I do. Let me read up some of these older super chats. Ray Nada Lockett for $1 said, "Hit not punched, pledging 10 million to Amber." Very nice. Here for the Truth said, "Annie called JD an idiot, unprofessional." So this is Dr. Spiegel. So Dr. Spiegel did call JD an idiot, right? They did catch him in that lie, didn't they, at court, James?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was proof positive there.
Yeah.
Alan Chadwick said he saw Johnny play Manchester tonight. He looked happy doing what he loves with a friend, which is awesome. Art Norman said, "Great show. Hollywood equals Hollyweird." I will agree with that. And then Perp said, "Does Amber Heard need to pay up before she appeals?" Yes, you need to put money up to appeal. You need to put money in an escrow account. Now, you could probably get like a bond for that or get some sort of credit. Like, hey, I'll put up 10% and you like match me. But she's going to need to put up some real money, not fake money. So that's why I'm thinking, does she actually file or not? They may be talking a whole lot of smack right now, but we'll see whether they do it when the rubber hits the road. Because according to Elaine, Amber's broke.
Yeah.
So,
how is she paying the legal fees? That's what I want to know.
How is she paying the legal fees? Is Daddy Elon still paying? What's going on right now? People say insurance. Have you seen any proof that she's collecting from insurance? It seems like that's a wild speculation on people's point.
Yeah, and then I heard someone say that the insurance people were at court or something like that. Like just watching. I don't know. I couldn't confirm that. I would love for people to confirm that for me, or maybe I'll look into it more. But I don't know if she's putting up her property as collateral or the insurance. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Yeah. Miss Gold says the appeal petition is based on 2 items of UK law that cannot be reviewed due to finding out Amber lied. Please read it. It has all the info in there. Okay, awesome. So I will, guys, here's what I'll do. On a separate stream that's in the morning, more UK time with UK Wellers, I will actually pull up the UK petition. I'll go through that on a separate stream. I am going to stream on this topic like probably Monday morning and Monday evening. I've got a special guest coming in to talk about some of the gender politics that have erupted because of this. And by the way, I'm only talking about that because of the articles. I wouldn't be talking about this if the articles didn't literally come out saying orgy of misogyny, impact to all women. The Root saying this is destructive for Black women, which was surprising to me. Did you see that one, James?
I did, and I saw I saw one of the lawyers on one of the Law 2 lawyers. She did a great job at replying to that. Yeah. It was
yeah.
how can people get away with saying that? I mean, I don't know if it's just
because there's no accountability. Because there's no accountability, James. There's zero accountability for saying shit like that. You can say stuff like that, which is essentially slandering. I mean, first of all, it's just false, and second of all, it's slandering pretty much everybody, including black women that are in agreement with this verdict, right? So, which, by the way, is a lot. I've been, a lot of them viewers are women now, and a lot of viewers are African American, right, or just black in general, right? Because you could be from Kenya, Ethiopia, wherever else, right? If you're just using skin color, and it's very ignorant to make that assumption, right? And I'm not going to say it because I don't know the background of the author, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was edited by some sort of white liberal progressive person in the Northeast who wrote that article or penned it or put together the outlines of it. It's always very interesting when I see that. Beaver's Unit asked though, for you, James, did you laugh when Baby Rottenborn objected himself and then he said, "Humans, bots, my cats"? I think he simps Johnny.
Yeah, so he's a tough one. I mean, I think he's a good lawyer. I think he's a very good lawyer. I think he was doing the case for whatever reason. I do feel like he didn't really like Amber that much, and he didn't really care. I think he probably knew he was going to be set no matter what. Like after this, that this might be a wash. And I do think in the beginning that before the UK, that I do think Elon was involved, and I think the lawyers got involved when Elon was involved. And I've heard rumors to back that up, and I've also heard rumors that Elon actually purposely chose those lawyers, knowing that they would do a bad job with her case. So
really, you've heard that one?
Yes, I've heard that he selected them knowing that they would do. Yeah, that they would base that they.
That's an interesting theory. I mean, I don't know if I believe that theory, but it's interesting.
I've heard it in people in Hollywood, so I don't know if it's true, but
yeah,
that's what the talk of that sphere is. So take it, but yeah,
grain of salt. Boogie says a Nick Cruz trial in Florida next month. Racket streaming. I actually met Judge Schreiber at a bar conference in Palm Beach at the Breakers, and she is probably one of the hottest judges in Florida. But she, like hands down. But in addition to that trial has been delayed multiple times. It's giving me trial blue balls. So I'm not like holding out for this one not to get delayed another time. So we'll see what happens with the Cruz trial. If it actually does start next month for real, that'll be a great one to cover because it's a very contentious trial and topic. So that would be very interesting. Obviously, Nick Rekieta is a good friend of mine. I will be on his stream. I come on his streams when I can. Obviously, I'm not up all day and all night, and I do try to do morning streams. So I usually try to pop on at least for the mornings of you guys, which is my early evening, then go to bed probably around lunchtime, and then I'll pop on for my morning streams for my people. But yeah, I'll definitely check that one out. I think that one's good. Did you follow that whole? Have you heard anything about that case at all, James?
Yeah, that's Parkland, right?
It's Parkland. It's a long time ago, right? Now it's like it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, it does. But I watched it a little bit. I watched when he, I guess, was is it called getting arraigned?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I remember seeing him
getting the first time he went into court. That's arraignment.
Okay, so I think that might have been what I saw and stuff, and I was watching, and I actually was watching that when it was happening. So that could be something that it's a heavy topic for people, of course. But if people want to report on it and see, I guess, will it be like, can you go in? Like, will it be publicized? You're allowed to go in and watch?
Yeah, it should be. It's in Broward. Broward has been fully open as long as I know. There's no reason why it wouldn't be.
Are there courtroom for that one?
See, there should be. There have been for a lot of the hearings. Now, they could prohibit it. Well, who knows, though? I mean, maybe it's so graphic they could decide to prohibit it. But I think there should be, and I am a big fan of that. What do you think about some of the outlets trying to ban cameras from the courtroom, or trying to say that they shouldn't be in the courtroom because they're creating a spectacle? How do you feel about that, James? Is it complicated? Do you have mixed feelings about it?
I mean, not really. I think I guess I always want to say like the right thing, but I think you should.
It's my channel. You can say the wrong thing and blame it on me, and say Andrew's crazy ass made me say this. You can blame it on me. You get a pass. You get a hall pass on my channel.
No, I think it's good. I think in general, truth and having the most amount of information made public to the public is always good. I think freedom of speech at any cost, like no matter what, like it's people's job to then dispel even if it's misinformation or whatever, like even if the cameras become a spectacle, it's the people's job not to make it a spectacle. And if the people can't handle that, that's fine, but that's the people's job. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I always think giving everyone the opportunity to see what's happening live from the courtroom is good. I don't think it can cause any harm, personally.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Cheapy Peach says, "Come on, OnlyFans or GoFundMe or another lawsuit. Which way will she try to money for appeal?" Well, to sue as a plaintiff, you need to have money. You cannot sue with no money. So I think another lawsuit is probably out for Amber. OnlyFans definitely an option. GoFundMe, well, that's the one I jokingly showed you, but it's also not a joke where she had like $5. Like nobody's gonna give money to Amber Heard. That's like
She raised like $1 million on GoFundMe, and then
did she really?
They got shut down.
I was seeing it like $5, but okay, you got to $1 million, huh?
I could have sworn, unless the goal was $1 million, but she had way more that she had to pay. But I'm pretty sure it got to $1 million, and then it was GoFundMe. Like,
sure, she has her stans and simps out there. There are people that will simp for Amber, so I'm not surprised. I'm not
she could
surprised.
be a Twitch streamer. She could get on like an e-girl. You know, she could. Yeah,
she could put on the cat girl ears. She can do it. She can do it. I'm sure you heard this before about the golden retriever energy, James. This is a comment that I get a lot, that I've heard from you a lot. Max says, left on Trump voters circa 2016, white, male, uneducated, racist, and ignorant deplorables. Mainstream media knew it backfired, or they'd be pushing deplorables.
Yeah, and that's people are waking up now because you have a lot of independents and Democrats who support Johnny Depp who are like, wait. You can't call me this because I'm on your side. I see it on social media, and they're doing a terrible job at isolating the entire public. So
it's a bad strategy. It's a bad take.
Yeah.
Julie says, when Elaine asked about Oz, Australia, and Amber Heard sat back and almost got out of her chair and said, "I don't want to do this," that's the only true thing she said. I think at that point it was all or nothing, and she went balls deep. What did you think about that moment?
That is absolutely exactly what I thought. I thought she did the whole, I don't want to do this. She did it. I think that was a signal to Elaine, and that Elaine didn't catch. But I think she thought that she would be able to get out of it. Like Elaine would be like, she's too emotional. We need to stop this. You know what I mean? I think she thought that she could stop the trial by getting emotional. But then she realized, like, it's not going anywhere. I have to continue with it.
Amber doesn't do that, right? That works with other witnesses where you get them to cry and then they stop, right? They get a pause.
Yeah, like if they were sobbing and it's like, oh, it's too emotional for me, I can't do it. Like, I've seen that. Well, maybe that only happens on Law and Order, but I think that happens.
No, it does happen. People that have stopped trials because people started crying. Of course, genuine crying, not crocodile tears, but I think the thing with Amber is she never wants to show weakness. That's her thing. Yeah. So she's never gonna be seen crying ever.
No, she's torn between those two.
To try to be the super masculine and then pretend also to be this weak, fragile woman, which you're doing both of them horribly. So just pick a lane and stay in it. J5L5M6 says, I'm in DC proper. Everyone on a bar stool that I've met was Team Depp. And that's liberal DC talking. I can't imagine the rule outskirts, although conservative men do tend to simp for a pretty face. Well, okay, I'll say this. I will say this about we're making generalizations, right? Because it's like a wide generalization, right? Because I know people that are of all sorts of different proclivities. I know simps that vote red and simps that vote blue. They do it different ways. But I will say that this is true, that people who are in either red or blue states, whatever, are all pro Depp, and it's unifying. And people that I remember when I got followed by lesbian gaming grandma, and I was like, I don't think she's watching my channel in the content that I was producing before this, especially about Disney and the takes that I have on the bullshit they were pushing around the bill in Florida.
Oh, don't even get me. My followers even want to hear my opinion about that because they will
No.
not.
This is the thing, James. I fully expect a good amount of people to unsubscribe when they hear certain takes I have. But here's the point: I have a commitment to the truth and discussing the truth with people. And look, I'm open to having conversations with people if they have an alternative take. If they can read something and tell me, and they're reading the original source, and we can have a conversation about it, that's fine. I bring up Nate the lawyer. We all talk to Nate. Nate is a little bit more on the left. He's not super wild, but he's a little bit more on the left than most people. We have great conversations with him, and he's able to bring up points. And sometimes I listen to him, and I'm like, "You have a point there, Nate. I didn't think about that. You have a point, right?" So I'm open to talking about people as long as we can have a reasonable conversation and it's based on objective facts. That's my criteria. You can't tell me that I'm supposed to feel a certain way. You can't say, "Well, don't you feel bad?" The answer is no, I don't. Right? You need to tell me based on the facts and the data, right? This is X, Y, right? Then you convince me, right? But not because you're trying to guilt trip me or gaslight me or tell me I'm an Istrophobe. That is not a winning argument that's going to convince me that my point is discredited.
Yeah. No, living in Florida, I mean, it was so surreal to see the media twist everything with that. I just, Disney.
It's because here's the thing. Did you go to? Well, you didn't go to public. You moved there, but I went to public school in Florida. I went to public school in Florida. We didn't learn about sex anything till sixth grade. So I was like, I don't know why children are learning about sex at all. Like I didn't learn about it till fifth or sixth grade. So like let's just not talk about it. But once again, separate topic. Yeah. This one is much more potentially unifying, which I want it to be, while other people want it to be divisive. It's this soy mafia right here. See, that's exactly it. I want to see you two quarrel next episode over Brandon. So it's the exact type of thing. It's like, the based Miami versus woke Broward County. It's like the fight of the century. But it's the point is that I'm happy to work with people on the things we agree with and on the things we disagree with. If we can have a conversation, I think that's fantastic. I really do. I truly do believe that. And I'm glad that through this trial, I've expanded the circle of people that I talk to because it's more voices to be able to have a conversation. And I think good content is good conversations. Look at Joe Rogan. He's successful because he has good conversations with everybody.
Although we know what they say about Joe Rogan. So
yeah, they say he's an istinophobe and a horrible human being because he has conversations with people. Crazy. Which, once again, nobody buys that argument that he's far right, right? If anything, Joe Rogan is a little bit more on the left than even I care for. But
yeah, he was a Bernie supporter.
He's a Bernie supporter, exactly. So it's weird, but the mainstream media has said these things for a long time. I'm not new to these stories, but a lot of people in this trial are. Hi, do you think this trial is cemented on how unreliable mainstream media is, with millions of people watching this in real time, seeing their headlines didn't line up? I mean, right? This is lines up. That's what we're talking about, Zoe. Headlines are not lining up with reality. And at the end of the day, that's the problem. That's the problem we're having here, is that the truth in the observable reality doesn't line up. And we have to reconcile that. We have to reconcile
and it's everyone who doesn't agree. So they're just pushing people further and further away into independent media and online creators.
Yeah. Coaxial Flutter says the mainstream media goes along with popular opinion as well. Also, Washington Post originally spread the misinformation about WDs in Iraq, but that didn't last long. It didn't last long once we actually got there and figured out there were. But it's like, oh, we are there. And now we're stuck for a decade. Awesome. Joseph Ellis says, James, do you know a VP from Amber's Insurance Travelers Company was with Amber every day of court? She also rode in the same car as Amber when arriving and leaving. She had silver hair and sat in the front row. Why was she there? Well, first of all, did you know that?
No, I heard that. I didn't know who she was. And I didn't because I was never outside, like with the crowds in the area that there were people lined up on the street, like hundreds with signs where Amber and Johnny would come out, like the private entrance to the courthouse. Mm-hmm. I never went out that way. I always stayed in the courthouse to report afterwards. So I never saw her leave. I did see the videos. She has, I don't know maybe what this person's referring to. She always has her assistant with her, which is a younger girl with like long brown black hair. Oh, she had silver hair. It's at the front row. Silver hair and sat in the front row of the trial. Those were all the lawyer people. But maybe one of them was the insurance. I did hear that rumor from people inside the courthouse, so I don't know.
Hey guys, I just no, yeah, I heard the rumor, and I heard people talking about it, but I didn't see any conclusive proof. I haven't seen like here's a picture of her, and we can line this up with a picture of the person from the chat. Like here's her LinkedIn profile, right? And then we can line it up. If you guys have that information, Twitter me or James at the Legal Mindset. James, you're at James from Court, right? This is your Twitter bio. So
yeah, James from Court.
James from Court, right? So James from Court at the Legal Mindset. Either way, message us if you have the proof. That's awesome if you do. So I put a little poll here, guys. What's your political leanings? Are they left, right, independent, or I don't give a fuck? So let me know. I'm interested to see everybody's there. Somebody had a good idea for that in the chat, and I think that was a good one. Just for me to know, right, of this chat. We got 5,632 of you. And regardless of what your political leanings are, smash the like button on this channel. Make sure you subscribe either way. Even if you disagree with me on certain things, you're going to have fun, and we're going to really enjoy ourselves in this channel, regardless of which way you flow. Although I will say this is probably the most based chat on in channel in law too. But that might just be my own opinion here. Coaxial Fluss says, "You've heard about a careless whisper. How about a tearless cry?" Did you see a tear, James? Like, did you see any tears?
No, the only person I saw cry was Elaine, like real cry and stuff. And I thought it was so crazy why would they bring out the acting person who specifically said Amber is not good at crying? Like, why would you do that? That was such a bad decision.
It was weird. It was really weird. It was really weird. Julie says, "Who knew that Johnny Depp would unite the left and right?" You know, we've been waiting for a consensus issue, and like this is the consensus issue. It's so weird because I can talk about this with everybody. It's really weird. It's like not political at all. I can go out there and have this conversation when I tell people, because a lot of people are still, you know, they've heard it on TV or TikTok or on social media, but they're not maybe as invested in like my channel or LawTube in general. Maybe they've seen Emily D. Baker. Some of them have seen Legal Bites, but more have seen like maybe Emily D. Baker. But, you know, I'll ask anybody about it and they'll have an opinion on it. And when I tell them, oh, yeah, do you know people are making it into a political issue? Like, what? Like, they don't even know. Like, they don't realize that that's the way that they're trying to spin it, which I guess is a good thing because they're not the people that are trying to divide us. It's not working.
Yeah. And that's why I think I'm going to write something about this. I really do think that this case is breaking legacy media's culture war, you know, that pitting us against each other. I think this case one was so popular, and it's the biggest case, you know, I think since OJ, of course, because it really does unite everyone. Like, people are so sick. I think, you know, even though we've been fighting for the past 5 years, since 2015, I would say, you know, everything seems like an issue now. Like, every single topic is like a right-left issue when it shouldn't be. I think that this is something that people were so happy that they just came together and were like, it's not political at all. This is just about justice. And no matter what the corporate, you know, media is going to try to do to make it, it's not. I mean, you know, I've seen people on verified on Twitter. Oh, it was what's her name, Eve Barlow, who blocked me.
Oh, Eve Barlow blocked you?
She finally blocked.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've made it when Eve Barlow blocks you.
That's exactly what I tweeted, actually. I said, I think I made it. So she blocked me, but she tweeted something ridiculous. She retweeted Don Jr. because Don Jr. basically like called Amber out or something. And she's like, oh, if you want to be on the side of Don Jr. It's like, first of all, you're alienating half of the country that supports like Trump. So, and then the people that don't, like, you think that calling out like that, like if people support Johnny, you think taking someone else that you think these people don't like and associating with that position is going to shame them into the position that you want them to have? I mean, it's ludicrous. It really makes no sense to me, these people on Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Absolutely not at all. Storm Dancer says, are you going to follow Johnny Depp and Camille on their next court case? I mean, I don't know if Johnny Depp has another court case, but if Camille has one, that might be worthy to file. But she also may not. I mean, once again, a lot of things don't go to trial, so it's not guaranteed you're going to get Vasquez in court anytime soon, or Johnny Depp much less. in court. But if they do end up in court, then sure. I know there's the fight over the fees. I have that document pulled up. It's not worthwhile talking about. It's essentially the ACLU tried to get them to pay their fees in New York, and they say it's too much money. Legally, it's really a nothing burger. I'm not going to try to grift on that. It's literally there's no meat on those bones. And I don't think that's worthwhile to cover. It also won't be televised, so it's not going to be that sexy. I mean, come on, Camille is better in 1080p, right? Streaming. So, I mean, let's just say. So, it's yeah. But that being said, I mean, I would if she's in another high-profile case, I would love that. I would love to watch Camille in another contentious case. And if you guys know about one and it comes up, let us know because I would definitely check it out. I definitely would watch it if there's a televised case. For sure. Absolutely. 100%. 100% I'll watch it if Camille was in it.
No, sorry, just real quick, I have a question for you. Because these lawyers are so popular and like famous now, will they go on to do like big cases for that? Or are lawyers for the most part the type of people that are like, oh, this was like cool, but like I'm just going back to like doing the bread and butter stuff? Or are they gonna be like kind of public figures?
Well, they're special. They essentially now that they've done these trials, they have a lot of trial experience, so they're more likely to be on trials. But trials are not that common, especially high conflict trials. In fact, she'd be better off because trials are also hard. She'd be better off also like being on a settlement team. So like when they add her to the trial, that'll be the boogeyman because they don't want to go up against Camille Vasquez in trial. Adding her name will be golden because then people will settle. They'll be like, "Fuck, I don't want to fight Camille." Like. So I guarantee she's a partner as soon as she should be a partner already. If she's not, there's a fucking problem.
Yeah,
like
she's not yet. But someone explained to me that
she needs to leave.
She doesn't want to be a partner because being a partner requires more responsibility. And
it does, but you're a bitch if you're an associate. And if she doesn't become a partner for some reason, like there are people in the law who want to be senior associates, blah blah blah, but frankly, she's really being lied to or gaslit or something, or she doesn't know what's going on if she doesn't become a partner. Now, she may be great in trial and she may not just understand business yet, but you really got to be a partner to get that equity. Otherwise, you're not making a lot of money compared to what you could be making.
Okay, because I know Ben and Dennison are both partners, and the blonde woman is a partner as well, but Camille wasn't.
She should be though. Okay. So, and now if she doesn't want to be, I'd be interested to hear why, but yeah. Mo had said do a political poll, so I've already done this. And what the poll has come out right now, just read it because we've gotten 1,382 votes, so that's pretty statistically significant. But right now we've got it at right is leading with 31%. But listen up, independent is at 29%, so that's a huge percentage, almost as much as right. And then I don't give a fuck is at 24%. Right,
okay. Which is like sort of independent to me, but
yeah, and then left is 16%, which I would expect for my channel. But even 16% left is heavy for my channel. So the point of the matter is that this is pretty neutral, right? Yeah. It's not all people who are saying my leanings are right. That poll is not 90%, right? It is definitely people who don't care or are out there, which is important, right? It's important to get different people's opinions and have different people watching. I'm cool with that. Next question is from Rach, which says, I understand why people push others with different opinions away. Friendly debates invite critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yep. It makes you think. It makes you really, really think about things. Eileen Warmos and Jodi Arias didn't cry either. No empathy for victims, not sorry. Yep. Those were cases that were a while back. Do you remember the Jodi Arias case, James? You're a little young.
I remember bits and pieces. I remember watching like last year, actually, during the pandemic, which is when I started getting into all this kind of stuff. One of YouTubers, I forgot who did it. I think it was maybe like Coffee and Crime or something. They did a whole thing about Jodi Arias. Actually, no, it was one of the dudes. He did a really good breakdown where he showed like even her whole in the what's it called, interrogation video, and they showed her where she like did the thing, the handstand, and he broke down like all the issues with her. Anyway, point being, I got really into it later on, so I saw so many similarities between Jodi Arias and Amber. They even had the pictures. I saw the meme where they both dressed up like librarians. You know what I mean?
That was like spot on.
Yeah.
I was like, Jodi much?
Yeah. Like, it's not good when you're taking your playbook of court from Jodi Arias. You know what I mean?
That's problematic when you're taking your court playbook there.
Yeah.
I think this answer is yes, right? So Kathy asks, James, is YouTube allowing you to live stream from your channel yet?
It is, but I can't do super chats or anything. But I think I will do a lot. Yeah, you have to be monetized to do super chats, right?
How are you not monetized? You should have gotten 1 million watch hours off of this. Come on, James. All right, guys. Hey, listen, everybody. Hold on. What's your YouTube channel? Let me make sure I'm subscribed.
Well, it's James from Court, but it's a weird because I don't have. It's not like they still have the weird.
Weird URL. Yeah.
I'll real quick. I can grab it for you.
So okay, yeah. I'm gonna just pull it right here to make sure that I've got it, and I'm dropping it here. I think I see. Yep, it's your little anime chibi thing right here. So okay, guys. So let me drop this. This is James from Court. I'm dropping this in the chat. So everyone go here. Go simp for James from Court. And I'm gonna put it in the description. Let's get him up. He's at what the fuck are you at right now, James? You're at like
I'm almost
he's at 16 point. He's 169. No, let's get this motherfucker to 20. We've got 5,000 people in the chat right now. I'm gonna put him in the description right now, so you guys will be able to follow him.
And I didn't honestly I wasn't a YouTuber before this. I didn't even have a channel, so I started the trial, and I kind of I slacked a little bit just because I figured, well, I'm just going to go on streams and talk. Like, who really cares about what I have to say that much? And now I've realized, well, I mean, and I don't think it's because of me, but the information I have people want to know about. So it's my fault for not starting the YouTube channel earlier. But
that's all. It's all good in the hood. You finally did it. And the important thing is doing it. And now you've got it. So we'll get you there. So I stuck in the description. So now it's there officially. We've got your information there. So.
Well, so it worked. Thank you all. I mean, it just hit 17, so hopefully 20 will be my next mile.
Yeah, you've got it. Let me hit my subscription here too to make sure this uploads, and let me refresh the page. So I see already. Yeah, you're way past 17. So yes. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. James, I think you're talking about JCS criminal psychology with Jodi Arias.
Yes. Yes.
So he got banned a while back. Do you know about that?
No. What happened?
No, I don't know. This person is saying that. I don't know.
Oh. No, I didn't. I'm gonna look up. That's crazy that he got banned. Yeah. No, I think he broke down each, and he did it with a few different people where he broke down their interrogations. It was crazy interesting.
Danny thinks you're young and cute. Put out some videos. Let's see what we got here. I say thank you to all those this type of comments. Peggy says, does James have a Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo?
I do. It's James Reports.
Which one? Cash App, PayPal, all of them?
Oh, Cash App and PayPal. I don't have Venmo, but it's just James Reports for Cash App and PayPal.
Okay.
It's also on my Twitter.
James Reports equals Cash App, Venmo. Okay. So there you go. So some people, you can go buy him coffee. You can go get James some good stuff. Send him some money, guys, because he did this largely unmonetized, unlike the rest of us grifters. Steve,
totally unmonetized. I've spent probably $3,000 now. This whole trip so far, probably more than that.
Okay, go Venmo him right fucking now. I put his information in the chat. James Reports. Go Venmo this motherfucker right now. Right now. No pledges. Only donations. Only donations. James does not take pledges. He does not accept them. We will sue you. We'll take action in the UK for perjury. Definitely. Steve Hawking says, I am a lifelong liberal, blown away by how MSN and CNN were covering the trial. I would watch the trial all day, and the headlines they put out had absolutely no basis in reality of what I've seen. Yeah, and Steve, thank you for being honest. I really appreciate that, because I think a lot of times it's hard for us to say, especially the stuff we've been watching and committed to. Let's say, let me put the shoe on the other foot, right? Let's say you're a lifelong conservative, all you watch is Trump or OAN or something like that, and to say, hey, wait a second, these guys are lying. I mean, and I'll say this about conservative institutions. Look at the Murdoch-run publications. I have an international audience, and they've got in Australia, UK, and the US. The New York Post, which historically is pretty conservative, not on this issue. They were real bad simping for Amber on this one.
Yeah, it was weird to see some of the New York Post stuff. I don't know if it's because I had a feeling because maybe Johnny Depp, he did say some pretty negative things about Trump. So I did notice. Do you think that's why he conservative media went after him.
But I don't think it was enough, and I think they should have realized, like, if they did any polling at all, they should have realized, like, this is not something you're going to win on. It just seems really odd to try to win on this issue or try to bring up this issue. It just does not seem great.
I agree.
It does not seem like a winning argument. Okay, so somebody sent me a little bit of information on the silver-haired person. So there was a super chat from, let me see what it was from. It was from Joseph Ellis, which says, I DM Legal Mindset info about the silver-haired VP. Her name is Pamela Johnson, had been reported on, so not saying anything that's not already public. So apparently this is public information. James, I'm going to show you the photo, and you tell me if this lady looks familiar to you.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. She was there.
You're like, oh, yes. You know, you're confident you know this woman is. Okay.
That's who actually, when they said silver haired, that's kind of who I was thinking. But I thought she was one of the legal aides or lawyer, but no, she's the insurance person.
Apparently her name is Pamela Johnson.
Okay, so I mean, if that's her job, then 100%. I know she was there almost every day. And,
okay, I mean, so you could confirm that. I mean, that's.
And she was friendly with Whitney, and she did a lot more. Like, she would actually pass notes, like, from Amber to Whitney sometimes and to the assistant. So maybe that makes sense, and that she was more so maybe on the personal side from the insurance thing. I'm not sure.
Question from Lane. Is it true that Amber popped the pill to induce tears? I saw someone speculate on it, but never followed up. You know, I never asked you, James, or anybody. I don't think I've ever asked anybody in the court, because there was the whole, snorting incident, right? Did you see her pop any pills in the court?
Well, no, and we wouldn't. So actually, y'all got a much better look at her than we did, because I only saw the back of her. I mean, when she would turn and say stuff, or when she would turn around to give notes to people, then I would see her. But otherwise, like, when she was doing the thing where I saw she like does like this and she does that. Although in the video, it doesn't really seem like she actually takes anything. I feel like it's almost like it was like a nervous reaction that she's used to taking Xanax or something, and she like just redid the motion of it, because it didn't look like she was actually taking anything. But I mean, it's hard to tell. I have to look at the videos a little bit better, and especially on the stand, I saw that where she does the tissue and it looks like she's like snorting or something. It could have been menthol or something to make her cry, or I don't know. But that was hard to see from.
It could have been. It's potential.
Allegedly,
right? Allegedly. That's always the word. Allegedly.
Yes. Yeah.
Chris Larkin says Camille and Brown Rudnick is representing JD again in LA court now. I guess it's a case of, they said it's a case of Phil crew member versus Johnny Depp. So that's cool. I mean, if there's something that's going on right now, and I haven't looked into that one, but if there's something that's going to go to trial, that would be interesting. Obviously, Johnny Depp is trending right now, so that would be something that's cool to cover. Yeah. Because Johnny Depp is still in the news if that trial is going on. The Psych 1 says, way left. This trial shouldn't have any factor. Well, I agree, and welcome to my channel from the way left. But yeah, it shouldn't have any political factor. I agree with that. Don Hinton says, when you make partner, do you need to buy in, a la Suits? It depends. At some firms you do, at some firms you don't. It depends on their structure, their partnership structure. There's actually a former partnership agreement you sign. Sometimes you buy in, i.e. buy somebody else's book of business, or buy part of it, buy equity. That's required at some firms. There's a firm in Orlando that is famous because they make you buy part of the real estate that the firm is located on. Yeah, it's weird. It's like the only firm I've ever heard of doing that. It's so weird. And it's actually a kind of a pyramid scheme that benefits the older attorneys, because like the property has only gone up. So they bought the
that makes sense.
They bought the property back in the 1960s and they paid like fucking $10 in a mule. And like now, it's cost, that property is on Lake Eola in downtown Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like prime property, and it's a multi-million-dollar property. So even if you're buying a tenth of it, you're paying like $100,000. It's insane.
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair.
No, it's not at all. Debbie says there's something wrong with Camille's partner track. She has 12 plus years experience, 6 to 7 in one firm, and the rest at Brown Rudnick. You don't leave after 6 unless you're not going to make it. Yeah, that's the thing. So there's a saying, up or out. So at 6 to 7 years, it's up or out for attorneys. So you either move up to partner or you go out. So it seems like she left the first firm because she didn't make partner, and then she went to Brown Rudnick, but this is about the time when she should make partner. So it's just a little bit, it's pretty odd. I'm just going to say it's pretty odd. Danny said, mid-left, rainbow flag, rainbow flag, rainbow flag, rainbow flag, heart your channel. Hey, well, Danny, I'm glad you heart my channel, and I hope you still heart it after you list a lot of shit we're going to talk about on this channel. But yeah, everyone is welcome here. Just make sure you got your ears open to listening to facts. Wendy's Cafe. James, watch the interview Eileen Warmos did from prison. It's creepy. Have you ever studied any Eileen Warmos stuff or looked into any Eileen Warmos?
I'm sorry. I don't know who that is.
She's the killer in Florida, the female serial killer. Charlize Theron played her in the movie Monster.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's her. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Cameron Phillips, and yes, Cameron, I got your super chat. I saw you asking about it in the chat. JD versus Greg Brooks this July. Says JD punched him. Emma Damnoff documented with timestamp photos and signed declarations saying Brooks is lying, has proof. Well, that'll be great. If that's a July trial, we'll cover that one. That'll be an interesting one if it goes through and doesn't kind of settle or go away. Rach says Amber Heard for Gone Girl 2. What about Amber Heard in fake glasses? She literally couldn't see when she put them on to see the monitor and shook her head and took off the glasses. What did you think about seeing her in those glasses, James?
I mean, it was just comical. You know what I mean? It just made no sense. It's like, it just added to the whole air of she's just making all this up. She's putting on a show. She's an actress that is playing a part. And again, if you want to come off like innocent and believable, I don't think going with the Jodi Arias playbook of Courtroom is, change up your whole look to whatever. No, they know you're an actress. You don't need to put on glasses. You can still come in kind of nice looking. You don't have to put on crazy shoulder pads and have your hair done up like Princess Leia. It just, I don't know. The whole thing is a spectacle.
It is crazy. Kathy, though, says, James, it is because of you.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
So right. Like I said, so you get very nice people here. And like Starbright, she said, James, reporting is your future. Looking forward to it. And what's that? And what's this? Peggy Cole asked, sorry, not tech savvy. What is James' last name? I don't know if you want to tell them your last name. You're probably not going to. Don't dox yourself unless you want to. I think James, you're sticking with James from Court, right?
Yeah, it's just James from. I mean, if I told you my last name, it wouldn't make any difference. It wouldn't help anything. It's just James from Court. That's the way to find me everywhere.
Find him that way, guys. He's not putting himself out there like that. But
talking about my cash, it's James Reports. It's not a last name. It's just Reports.
Yeah, James Reports. James Reports.
But I'd rather not give out because I know I'm on Taylor Lorenz's radar now, so I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing: there's these psycho people on the Amber side, and at least make him do a little work, right?
I'm sorry.
Well, no, I said at least make them do a little work. These psycho people on.
Yeah, exactly. I'll make them they have to take my picture and then try to find my, what I mean? Make it do something like that.
Yeah, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Like I say about me, I don't put my last name and my real name out there, but I don't care if somebody doxes me. I just want to make them do the work, right? They got to really want it, Yeah, exactly. Cherry Andex says, Jay, 5 expressions LA made after the verdict reading.
Well, I told the story about how she cried.
She cried.
That after, well, that was before the verdict was read. So after the verdict was read, I mean, they looked disappointed. I don't know. I almost feel like she was kind of maybe not at the verdict result, but just relieved that it was over. They were very nervous as it was going in. Everyone was looking around. Even Johnny Depp's team was kind of nervous. Camille, she would do the Jim from The Office kind of half smile. I'm smiling to show face, but this whole situation's crazy. Rottenborn was a little nervous. He was he didn't have any confidence kind of in his face, and you could tell they had Amber released her statement the second she left. So obviously they had been preparing at least somewhat for that verdict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and I had some people message me, and by the way, guys, thank you. Like, I don't think I've seen anybody post like a LinkedIn page, but I have seen people send me other articles showing the insurance lady. So,
Oh,
okay, guys. So let me put it out there. I believe you. Like Zoe right here says, Vice President of Travelers Company DM'd you. Like, I saw the picture of her walking in. Like, so great. I believe you guys. If you guys have enough information on that, great. You know that's perfect. I mean, it would make sense for an insurance person to be in the thing. He also said sent in Twitter DM'd you the Emma Danoff declaration. So that's for the other trial. So maybe that'd be worthwhile to look at. So take a look at that, James, and maybe that's something you want to do that. Debbie says, I have news for you, James. When I pulled up your PayPal, your entire name shows up. ETH. So maybe want to change that. But oh well, whatever. Don't it happens.
People who that's just people. I mean,
people who donate money. You got to send you money to get it. Yeah, exactly. Nicholas says, in Sweden, there were hordes of Amber Heard articles after the judgment. Then one prominent feminist spoke out against Amber Heard, and all media grinded to a halt. See, this happens a lot right here, where like you have one prominent person who speaks up, and then you get everybody is afraid to speak up on it, right? So one person will say, like an Eve Barlow, right? Will speak up and say something and say, you guys are all sexist, and everybody else in Hollywood is afraid to say anything about it. That does happen, unfortunately, I think too often. Selma says, I personally think Amber Heard should move to the UK. I love your honesty and happy to see your channel grow. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I don't know, like for my UK viewers out there, I have a lot of UK people. I'm not sure, like this is an American, apparently, Selma. I think you're American. You're sending dollars, right? I don't know if the UK wants her to move there. Like, I don't know if they want her. Like, don't make her an honorary citizen when she's not. Storm Dancer says, July 2015, 22 trial, Johnny Depp versus Greg Brooks. Camille is supposed to represent JD. Okay, so great. So we've got a potential case we can check out. Bethany Rudd says it was a Listerine strip. So she put a Listerine strip in her mouth?
Okay, well, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, she's allowed to do that, right? I mean, if that's true, then that's fine. I mean, I have no problem with that. Wendy's Cafe says, I was on Pascal's stream yesterday and suggested he do a roundtable of real male DV victims. He's in the process of getting it together now. I'm excited that men are going to have a platform to tell their story. Also, guys, I've been thinking about this. I wasn't going to do it, but honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not trash talking anybody else's charities, so I'm not trying to start drama here, okay? But so far, I have not seen anybody doing a charity for a men's like domestic violence shelter or something that helps men or anything that's like #men too. So I may do a charity stream. Try to get one or two other people on with me, at least for like a couple hours. I found a very specific, with the help of my moderator, Danielle, shout out to Danielle. We found a very specific, very small place. It's just one location, but it's, reaching out to specifically men that are targeted, that are victims of domestic violence abuse. So I may do a charity stream for that. I have to figure out a good day for that, but I'm thinking about doing that because honestly, they need the money more. The small charities need the money more than the giant ones. The ACLU does not need any more money. A lot of these larger ones, they don't need that much money. They don't appreciate it. If I give them $1,000 or $500 or $2,000, it's not going to dent their book. But a small charity, that can be everything. So I'm gonna do one for that. I just have to pick a date.
Yeah, I'd love to help with that as well. I mean, anything I can. I know a lot of people are doing stuff for the Children's Hospital to kind of like, own Amber and stuff. But I definitely think, helping, especially with this issue, male victims of domestic violence is definitely a good cause. And I do have, I'm going to help Larry with his thing because I'm going to auction some of my wristbands. But I would also, I would love to auction some things for, the charity that you mentioned as well.
Yeah. Once I get the day up, I'll definitely send you an invite, James. And it'll be sort of the thing where if you want to pop in and, say hello and just come in and say a couple words, because, for me, that's why I wanted to get involved really with this too, is to get that. That's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I cover this topic is because I've had men reach out to me saying they're the victims of abuse of all types. At the hands of women, not saying that this is exclusive to any gender, but just saying that they feel like they can't come forward. They feel like they have no place to go. They feel like they have no voice. I've had some people tell me horrible stories about what happened to them, and they are real stories. So that being said, I really look forward to doing that. I'm just going to pick a day and I'll let you guys know. It will be in the very near future. I'm not going to let this go too long. So just so you guys know. Rachel says the forensic guy for the Depp team was in on the Jodi Arias trial, revealing the reflection of her in a picture.
Really?
That's interesting.
That is really in which. Oh, so the Depp's
So the forensic guy for Depp's team was on the Jodi Arias trial.
Wow, cool. That is a very interesting coincidence.
Very, very, very interesting one.
I like that.
Somebody said I should make a Mind Spasm for $2 said do a poll live stream on what to do next, James.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
I think I'll do a poll on my Twitter, I think, asking like what topics, and then I'll even get even more in depth, like specifically like what subject in each topic. So I'll do maybe a live stream and I'll do it on my Twitter because I mean that's what I want to do. I really want to cover stuff. I mean, this interested me, so I came to it specifically, but I also came to it knowing that it interested a lot of other people as well, and I want to cover topics that interest everyone. So
yeah. Peach Pie said, been wondering for a while what happened to JCS, Jim Can't Swim. His Arias episode was epic. Please find out and share.
So I looked. He, as far as I know, still has the YouTube channel. I just looked. It has like 3.2 million followers. There's the Casey Anthony thing that
Does he post actively, or is it like a kind of inactive?
Let me look again. It may be
inactive. Like he's like he posted a lot and then he kind of stopped. Like he kind of tapered off.
Yeah, it's a year ago was the last, so maybe. Let's see. The Wrath of Jodi, that was one at 28 million views. Yeah, that was big. And then he did Jennifer, the girl from Ontario, and then he did Casey Anthony, and those are some of the big ones. And then, this one's 62 million.
Yep.
How was he? Why was he deleted? I have to look into that.
I don't know. I have no clue. Yeah, if you find out, let's report on that. Once again, this is the part of investigation. If you find out, that would be a good thing to report on. I'd be interested in it, and hearing about that for sure. Steve J. Raw has a mail fundraiser in, I guess, AU, Australia. Okay, cool. That's cool. Bethany says, Rudd, that's a new one. Last name is pronounced like the color red. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Bethany. Sorry, Bethany. Bethany Red. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm sleep deprived. Even I really have not gotten a ton of sleep. So, me scusi on that one. Sabrina Malagisi says, James, can you cover the Marilyn Manson trial?
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting one for sure.
It's not started yet, but yeah, once it starts, right?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Thunder Kid said, just saw an article about GoFundMe shutting down Amber Heard's fundraiser to help pay JD. Get wrecked, Amber Heard. There we go. Jasmine the Dingo said, legend has it that Amber was turned away from ISIS for being too crazy to join.
I can see that.
I could definitely fucking see that. Miss Mugwump says, male DV shelter in DFW, Texas, thefamilyplace.org. Hey, great shout out. Thank you. I appreciate that. Even if that's not the one I ultimately go with, definitely support that. But I will look into that one because you sent that. I'll look into that one as well. Thank you, Miss Mugwump. Appreciate that. Tina Lewis, new member. Thank you. You have access to the emojis. So you have the soju bottle, the toilet, the cat girl, the vampire girl, the Andrew, the Adam, all of the emojis. I want to add more emojis. I just have to get my artist on it after this because now I have more members, so I can add more emojis. More members equals more cool emojis for you guys in the chat. Also, when it's not crazy, when this is not like spammed out with messages, I try to get your messages if there's no super chats or anything else in the member sub messages. Trinity said, I'm actually working on a 501c3 that'll be a faith-based home, not a shelter for DV men. It's going to be a minute before it's done, but my goal is one in all the states. Trinity, I fully support you, and if you send me the name, I'm happy to put that out there and circulate for you, or do something to get that publicity out there. There's more awareness on it. There's more awareness on it. So that being said, James, listen, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've been here for a long time. You've been on a lot of people's streams. We're all thankful for you coming on. I just want to say that seriously. I don't know. People probably have thanked you, but I want to personally thank you because I haven't seen you one-on-one. seeing you on other people's streams, and when it's their streams, they're in charge, they're the captain, right? It's was that Captain Phillips. It's like, I'm the captain now.
Yes.
This is my boat now. I'm the captain. So I will say from me, Andrew, thank you, James. Thank you for what you've done. We appreciate it. I appreciate you did it selflessly, that you did it without any motivation other than to bring information and truth to people. That is a beautiful thing to do, and that is a great thing for humanity. That's a great thing for the world, and I'm so glad you came together on this to work with everybody else. I feel like you, of all people, did it in an impartial manner. You did it in a neutral way, and I really respect that. So I just want to say sincerely thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you for being an inspiration for all of this. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I did absolutely nothing on this. I came into grift on this halfway through. So listen, I take zero credit for this other than being a guy who came in and covered this because I figured as soon as I started paying attention, this was an important topic and I knew I had to cover it. I knew I had to cover it. So thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Please go follow James. James from Court, Twitter, YouTube. Links in the bio for YouTube. Take care, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.